1130 The Tiger. Alongside Jacob Hester, here's Charles Hanagriff.
Hey, good afternoon. Welcome to Hangin with Hester and Hanny, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge, 1130 The Tiger Shreveport. And if you're watching along with us on CST or on our YouTube page, 104.5 ESPN, please go and subscribe. Good afternoon, everybody. Along with Cade Wazan and Paul O'Neill pushing the button. Playboy Marty's got the day off. Yeah, he's a travel day for him.
Playboy Marty on a Friday. Don't know how many times he's going to be in here.
Playboy Marty's on a road trip tonight. He's on assignment.
Sure.
He's on assignment with the Game Time show up in Mississippi tonight. So we'll be able to manage here today. Got a lot planned for you with Major League Baseball starting last night. We're gonna start out with Kevin Franson, who is the radio color announcer for the Philadelphia Phillies. Spent 10 years in the big leagues. We're going to start off with him here in about 15 minutes. Later on today, we'll talk to former Major Leaguer David Delucci about the start of baseball. But we got football stuff to do as well. The LSU and lots of others starting practice today with a football. We're going to talk about what that means. But the Saints getting their rookies and whatnot into camp with the start of full camp slated for Tuesday. We'll talk with Ken Trahan, Saints Hall of Fame, and with what's going on at Notre Dame, and they're trying to put together a schedule like everybody is. We'll visit with Mike Golic Jr. as well during the show today.
Yeah, I can't wait to ask him. Somebody's trying to throw out the idea of Notre Dame playing in the ACC championship game as well. So a lot to get to.
And the Orange Bowl is their Orange Bowl rep. There's so much to be going on. By next week at this time, we will have at least some clarity. If we take the commissioner, Greg Sankey, at his comments from earlier in the week, which is this is a watershed week, meaning next week, a watershed week for the league. They're watching what's happening everywhere. And I think by this time next week, we will have some type of idea, the direction of at least the beginning of the season, if not more than that. But Lot to get to with all that stuff. But did you watch last night? We had it on during the staff meeting. Yankees and the Nationals, almost like just when the meeting came to an end, the rain started. It's almost like it was got you again. But some long balls early. Giancarlo Stanton hit one halfway to Queens. And the Yankees come away with a 4-1 win over Max Scherzer and the Nationals in a game that was shortened to 6 innings because of that weather.
So remember yesterday we were talking, I don't even remember what the subject was, but we were like 2020. Just say 2020.
That's
it. So I cut the promo yesterday, and I was having a little fun. I'm like, if a reliever gets shelled in the 7th inning, we're going to cover it because we talked about it so many times. Yeah. Anything that happens, because now we have live sports, we are going to talk about it because we can actually break down games. And then the rain came in the 6th inning, and I wasn't even going to get to my 7th inning prediction. I'm like, 2020.
Yeah.
My promo's not going to even make sense. But the Dodgers scored 5 in the 7th. So, maybe I need to go bet some of these games. Maybe I can see into the future right now.
Well, I can see you got a rooting interest for today.
Yeah,
for those of you that are watching along with you,
which team I'm rooting for today.
Braves jersey. That's an authentic Braves jersey.
It is. So there was a player that played for the Braves, about a decade ago. His name was Brooks Conrad. No batting gloves. All the dude did was hit home runs. He was a pinch hitter, come in, hit a home run. And so it was a little jersey swap because he was from San Diego, so he's a big Chargers fan. And he had more muscles than me, apparently, because this thing is swallowing me up.
Well, you looked the part, man. I mean,
you got the official hat on.
You got
the undershirt.
Yeah, I mean, you got the whole ensemble going. And maybe you catch a break today because the Braves start literally first pitch is 5 minutes after the show. So I mean, we go get a cold pop. We watch the game.
I catch a big break. You know who doesn't catch a big break?
Your wife.
No, Paul O'Neill, who's got to run AFR.
I see.
During the Braves game.
I thought you were. I thought you were going to say your wife was. Got to take care of the kids because you got to watch the game, right?
Oh, my boys will be watching.
Okay.
Oh, they'll be watching.
Right.
We actually have something that we can watch because not all my boys are into soccer. I've got 2 that are into it, but they'll all be watching baseball.
So the late game, and I'd love to be able to tell you that I stayed up all the way to the end, but I didn't quite make it. But if Enrique Hernandez is going to hit, going to drive in 5 runs. I mean, the Dodgers have got bats from top to bottom in that lineup, but if they're going to get that out of Enrique Hernandez, and Dustin May is going to be a late emergency starter in place of Clayton Kershaw, then I'm sorry. The Dodgers are going to be unbeatable. I mean, Big Red was...
What a flow.
Yeah, man.
What a flow.
If he's going to pitch like that, and this is going to be, an emergency starter for them, then, man, the rest of the National League can hang it up.
Yeah, and he pitched a little bit last year in relief. He is a big-time prospect, but there's no room for him in this rotation. And you're exactly right. They're bringing that guy in. He's filthy. The ball's moving all over the place once he's settled in. And Paul and I were talking about it before the show. So many guys for the Dodgers that you kind of forget about. We mentioned Hernandez, who can really play all over the place. A guy like Chris Taylor, we forget about him. Jock Peterson, they tried to trade him, but still, he's a power bat. Even Corey Seager. That's a guy that Seager's a guy that on most teams would almost be the star, and he's kind of forgotten about a little bit just because the Dodgers have so many different pieces. A.J. Pollock's, he was a star for the Diamondbacks. I know he's probably on the other end of his career, but he's just like a little fill-in piece for the Dodgers. They're loaded everywhere.
They are. And we also got a chance to see a little bit just in the first game that starting pitchers, where are you going to hold them up at this point? And I thought Johnny Cueto was a perfect example of that. Now, he was injured a lot of the last 2 years. I get that they want to be careful with him, but he's cruising along. He was pitching very well, and at 63 pitches, that was it. May threw 60 pitches. I understand he's not as accomplished as the veteran Cueto. Yep. And Garrett Cole at 75 pitches, I don't know that he was going much longer than that had the rain not come. So that's about what you're looking at here for at least these teams on opening night. You're seeing in that 60 to 80 range of what they want to get out of.
And Cueto really only got into trouble one inning, and he got out of it. I mean, they only scored 1 run on him, but as soon as he got into trouble, Hanny, Gabe Kapler was looking around. You could tell he was getting antsy, and this was in the 4th inning, and this is your ace. This is your number 1 starter, obviously, with opening night last night, and 4th inning, the first sign of trouble, because he had cruised to that point. It's funny. Gabe Kapler, he's looking around. He's, all right, let's get some things going here. Normally, in that situation, you let him get out of the 4th inning. In the 5th inning, you come back in the dugout, you start to talk about it a little bit, and then if he goes out there, 2/3 into the 5th, and then he gets into trouble, then you get the bullpen up. I mean, they are snatching these starters out extremely quick. If any, last night tells us anything.
Now Cueto might be a little bit of a special case because he has spent a lot of the last 2 years on and off the DL. So I don't want to read too much into it, but yeah, somewhere in that 60 to 80 range might be where you want to hold up your guy. I would have been interested to see if Cole would have gone out for another inning had the Yankee game continued.
That game probably would have given us a better idea because you did have not only your frontline starters, but 2 of the best frontline starters in all of baseball too. So to see kind of their reaction to if they got into a little trouble, and early on the ball was flying out of the ballpark, and so who knows what we would have seen going into the 7th inning. Would you have kept your guys in there? So that would have been probably a little bit better of a guess, but hey, today's full of aces. We'll find out.
Yeah, nothing but the ones going out today. Your Braves got to face DeGrom today at 3:00, so you got a little bit of a
okay.
We're not worried at all, right?
Mike Soraka, that's our ace. We're good. He had 2.8 ERA last year. Young player, Canadian. Let's go.
He was second in the Rookie of the Year balloting a year ago. No, he's got plenty of good stuff. The Blue Jays have found a place to play. They light problems and all. They're going to Buffalo on Monday, but tonight late this afternoon rather, they open up with Tampa. Hunt's Cubs. Kyle Hendricks going for them against the Brewers. That's an ESPN game. That's at 6 o'clock, and the Astros go late tonight. They are at home against the Mariners. That's an 8 o'clock game. And what else we got? Late game Angels Athletics. Anthony Rendon, the big free agent acquisition for the Angels, not in the lineup tonight. And the Dodgers have pushed Walker Buehler back to next week.
Yep.
He's not going to pitch tonight. It'll be Ross Stripling
going
for
the Shark.
Dodgers.
Samardzija.
Samardzija going for the going for the Giants, and Madison Bumgarner going for the D-backs.
That's going to take a little bit to get used to. Right. Hey, is this good news or bad news? The Braves just put both of their catchers on the IL. Both of them, same time.
I don't think that's ever good news.
Yeah, just wondering.
You're going to use the right off the bat. You got to go to that. Go to the taxi squad.
Travis Deonard and Tyler Flowers both on the IL. Now you got to recall 2 catchers. That's great. That's a great way to start off with a young pitcher and to send both of his catchers to the IL.
All right, so let me get your thoughts on a few other things. Twitter was abuzz last night about the cutouts in the stands behind the Dodgers, behind home plate. What did you think?
I don't need it. I just don't. I'm okay with banners. Like if they would have had a Dodgers wrap on the seats and whatever their team slogan is for the year, their brand, whatever. Okay.
We just spend more.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah. The cardboard cutouts didn't quite do it. A foul ball went and it hit one of the cardboard cutouts and it just sat there and it just swang back and forth.
Right.
Like, what are we? Right. And they're not the only person trying to do something. Fox is actually going a step farther down the road. Have you seen this? They are going to have like an animated crowd on their TV broadcast. So they're going to fill the stands with an animated crowd that's got the team colors and all these different things, and so it's going to look like there is a crowd on the broadcast for these games.
Okay, the cardboard cutouts are hokey. Okay, there's no, but they didn't bother me as much as they might have if. I don't know, just been a different time. You would never have to do this in normal time, so I don't know if there's any good comp. But I just found myself, I'm responding to, there's, a thread that we've got going, a bunch of guys I went to college with, all big baseball fans, and they were like, well, this is a stupid thing. I was like, guys, I just don't want to complain tonight. I just want to watch the game. I mean, the stuff that would normally bother me just doesn't.
Oh, I'm not going to complain about it. I'm not a...
You want to put cardboard cutouts in the stands. You want to put tiki torches in the stands. You want to put 101 Dalmatians in the stands. I don't care.
Oh, you can have somebody behind home plate doing the whip and nay-nay, and I'm fine with it.
Yeah, just play.
Let's do it all day.
That's all I'm worried about
okay with
now.
that. Yeah, just throw the ball to the catcher and let the hitter have a chance in a live game. That's all I care about.
And we got lots of baseball coming up today. All right, in this second segment, Kevin Franson from the Phillies Radio Network will be with us. We're brought to you by Richards Honda, home of the warm and fuzzy feeling. This is Hangin' with Hester and Hanny, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hangin' with Hester and Hanny. Off the Bench, Hangin' with Hester and Hanny. After further review and more are all live daily on the 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge YouTube page. Subscribe now to interact with us inside the live chat. Find highlights for each show's channel and get notified whenever we go live.
If I built a van, it would do more than haul.
It would carry my entire business. I'd make it available in dozens, make not thousands of configurations.
It would keep an eye on my fleet.
And an eye out for danger.
If I built a van, I'd make it available in diesel and gas. And I'd build it right here in South Carolina.
Introducing the all-new Sprinter, starting at $33,790. Built in the USA. Mercedes-Benz. Vans. Born to run.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is a local bank with a straightforward philosophy.
It's about doing the right thing for our customers.
Participating in our community with annual local fundraisers. Offering individual attention in a modern banking atmosphere with a trusted local company. Gulf Coast Bank invested in technology with a local touch, giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime.
We're building relationships through personal service as the bank that cares about you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
This isn't just another day. It's so much more. Kelly's life was put on hold when her auctioneer primary care doctor discovered a rare blood disorder. Her doctor connected her to an auctioneer care team of cancer, heart, and kidney specialists. With multiple primary care locations around Baton Rouge, same-day appointments, and online scheduling, we're relentless about keeping you healthy. Auctioneer Baton Rouge, innovating healthcare for Kelly.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All Star Toyota today.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMaster Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. ServiceMaster Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona inviting you to join us for Friday's AFR presented by Don Juan Cigar Bar. The Riot Radio Hours return. We'll recap an opening night of baseball, and the football Tigers are on the field. Join us, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hangin' with Hester and Hanny on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and 1130 The Tiger.
We're brought to you by Richards Honda, home of the warm and fuzzy feeling. Among the openers today, the Marlins and the Phillies from Citizens Bank Park, and former LSU Tiger Aaron Nola will be on the mound for the Phils. And on the call tonight will be Kevin Franson, who joins us right now. Kevin, it's been a long time coming, but I'm sure there's some excitement there as the Phillies take the field for the first time tonight.
I mean, it's opening night, and last night, if it didn't get you excited, tonight sure will, as everyone. But I don't even know who won't play tonight. I feel like the Indians are like one of the few teams. I think they're playing, but there's someone else that's not playing. Anyway, every fan around the game hopefully is excited. I know Phillies fans are, not only for the team, but because the ace is on the hill, and when it's Aaron Nola Day. Usually it's a happy day here in Philadelphia, especially during these warm days, which he equates to being back home.
Kevin, have you ever watched a baseball game as closely as you did last night without having a rooting interest in it? Because I was locked in. I'm sitting there watching the seventh inning when the Dodgers score 5 runs, and I'm like invested. And I don't like either one of these teams, but I didn't care because I was just glad to see a reliever blow a lead. I was glad to see runners on base. I was just glad to see baseball.
Yeah, I just think the whole aspect of, the Giant-Dodger rivalry, being around it my whole entire life, being around it for my first few years in the big leagues, the fans are a bigger part of the rivalry than maybe the rivalry itself within the players, right? So that part was one of those hard ones to swallow last night in looking at that game. But then you start playing, and you see some of the things that were going on. You see, Clayton Kershaw gets scratched, and you get Dustin May throwing 99 and 100 cheese balls with a little sink on it. You're just like, this is not right. Like this is beautiful, but it's like, that's not right. I'm not supposed to see this. But it's just like when you look at the game, you look at how it's being played right now. I don't care if you're an old school, new school, traditionalist, whatever. It was baseball, and it was beautiful. And I love when you say it like that because that's how I looked at it. I mean, let's be honest, guys. There's no positive without a fan, right? We have to throw that out there. There's no positives without fans.
Right.
But there's certain things and the baseball sounds that we're hearing. Giancarlo's home run off of Scherzer in the first inning was one of the loudest balls I've ever heard.
Yep. And
especially in an empty stadium, you're hearing an echo, and it's like we need take appreciation in certain things. That's one of them. But it's not out of, you don't want to say it where you're dismissing the fan, right? Like that's not one that I'm trying to do, but it's just one of those things. We're going to hear things on the field. The crack of the bat's going to be louder than we ever heard, and that's the best.
Hey, I want to ask you about the starters last night in that Giants-Dodgers game. Before you came on, we were talking about Johnny Cueto's kind of dealing, right? He's only getting into trouble in the fourth inning, but as soon as he did, I'm talking about the moment like he got into any trouble, Gabe Kapler's looking around, getting kind of squirmish, like, okay, let's go ahead and go to the bullpen. And we were talking about, maybe because he's been on the DL the last couple of years, but I feel like that's just how it's going to be with these starters. They get into the fourth inning, two guys get on base, you're looking for the bullpen.
You know what's crazy is that that was so reminiscent of Aaron Nola's first start with Gabe Kapler as the manager. 63 pitches he got taken out again in Atlanta for a guy that wasn't warmed up too. Remember that?
Yeah.
He brought in Hobie Milner, who is now warmed up to face Freddie Freeman in a situation, and it's to your ace and Johnny Cueto. And Johnny Cueto's going, look, I played ball for 12 years and never experienced anything like this. Like, I think it's them protecting player from themselves, especially early on. But 63 pitches, I'm not going to sit there and say I know more than a manager, but if I'm seeing things, I just around the league, aces should have been up to about 80 pitches by now. And it was really surprising me. It really was. It one of those that you're going, but it wasn't so surprising because we've been seeing it the last couple of years.
Kevin Franson is our guest. He'll be on the call for the Phillies radio network tonight when Aaron Nola takes him out. Kevin, 2 years ago, Nola had a phenomenal season. He allowed less than one base runner per inning and made a serious run at the NL Cy Young. Last year, not as good, and the number that jumped out at me was that he walked a lot more guys than he did the previous year, which is not like him. But this preseason, whatever we want to call it here, these last 3 weeks of 4 simulated games, he hardly walked anybody, and he was very, very good. So his progression as a starter, how would you rate it, and what he's looking to correct from last year that he was so good at 2 years ago?
Well, he's got a pitching coach finally. Rick Kranitz was the guy 2 years ago, and he was, he and Aaron really, really hit it off. And then when he got let go, and they bring on the other guy, and I don't like really saying his name, but like Chris Young comes on, and he wasn't speaking the way Aaron Nola needed him to speak to him, individualized, right? It was a very broad way. Like, this guy can't handle this pitch. Well, if Aaron Nola is a guy that doesn't throw that pitch, why was he throwing it? And you would think that an ace would have the ability to shake off and do his thing. But the beauty of Aaron Nola is he's not going to sit there and go, I know more than you. He's going to compete, and he's going to do it within the team frame of mind. So if that's what you're going to have, the best interest for me, I'm going to trust you. And he did that to an extent, and I felt like it put him in bad situations. Brian Price, the new pitching coach, is someone for me that has really connected with Aaron Nola. Aaron Nola feels free, and when Aaron Nola feels free, you're talking like, I think that jumped off at everyone. The amount of walks last year, you're going, this is a guy that has pinpoint control with 3 pitches, 4 pitches really, but three just you walk out, and he's got his changeup, fastball, and his curveball going right away, and you're going, why was that gone? And for me, it's free of mind. And when Aaron Nola is free of his mind, and I sure think that he's going to be unbelievable. And he and Brian Price and that connection has made him free.
I've got to imagine adding Zach Wheeler to the rotation is only going to help Aaron Nola. Jake Arrieta, we know, is in that rotation, but a guy like Zach Wheeler, that gives you a little bit more peace of mind if you're Aaron Nola.
Yeah, I mean, you got a guy behind you that people are scheming for the next day. I mean, not only on top of what you are, there's a little thought going, man, if I go for 4 today against Nola, I got Wheeler tomorrow. Uh-oh. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
As a player, you think that stuff. There is like I better get my knocks today, and if I don't, like, it starts creeping up. It's nothing behind them last year, and it's nothing against our guys. It's just the consistency wasn't there. So when a guy's not consistent behind you, it just makes your job more impactful, I guess, right? About putting everything, the burden on you. And for me, I looked at Aaron Nola at times, trying to put burden on him too much, and instead of letting it play out, letting his stuff play out. And a little bit of it is the protection behind you. It's almost very similar to the way you look at a lineup. Are guys able to carry a lineup? Certain guys are most, no. And if you're part of that, where you're put in a situation to try to carry a lineup, what happens to those guys? They usually they flop, right? It's the same thing that could go with a pitcher. If you have maybe one guy behind you, but without anyone behind you, anyone's going to have that struggle, I feel like.
Catching up with Kevin Franson, longtime big leaguer, now part of the Phillies radio network here on Hangin with Hester and Hanny. Kevin, I want to ask you.
Radio.
Do what? I
got the face for radio.
Face for radio. I thought you said we got the face for radio. I'm like, yeah, absolutely we do. No doubt about it, Franson. We absolutely do. So, hey, I do want to ask you, because in football, when it gets towards the postseason, the last 4 games, the coaches always preach, right? Because you cut everything into quarters. And the last 4 games, it's the fourth quarter in the NFL, and you got to win those games to get into the postseason. When typically would that conversation happen in baseball? Since we have 60 games now, like if you're in a normal clubhouse in a 162-game season, when would the manager, if you're kind of in, a chase, or you're trying to get into a chase, what amount of games, if you can even remember, exactly that, would the manager kind of say, hey, got to spice things up a little bit. We got to go out there. We got to play hard every single day.
Now more than ever, because that 100-game mark, you could almost just chalk it up 50 and 50, right? It's what you do at the last 62. And meaning, like, it doesn't matter where that 100 is, but that's how we would break it up. The first 100 games and then the last 62, what do you do? So it's interesting to see how everyone is going to be dealing with it, because it's going to be different, right? The teams that are young and hungry, if they come out and shoot, fire, and hit on all cylinders, it could be interesting. But if those teams are the ones that struggle right out of the chute, I can see management and everything doing everything different, where you're going, ooh. But this one for me is all about, I think today when managers get in their clubhouses, they're not saying today's a must win, but it is a sense of urgency to get off to a great start more than ever, because it is going to be a lot easier to coast in this rather than try to fight your way back up, because you could be way behind by the time you get to September, and that's only a month away.
But, Kevin, how much of that changed yesterday about, 90 minutes to first pitch or so, when they decided they were going to let better than half the league in the playoffs? I mean, yesterday at this time, we were thinking, okay, yeah, man, look, you go out and you go, on a 2-8 skid, that may knock your season right for a loop. You're done. And now you're going to let better than half the league in the playoffs. We could have teams with a playoff spot clinched by, the first week in September, and really with home field being a negligible type of advantage in the postseason, we could have teams really with the last 3 weeks of the season without a heck of a lot to play for. So how much of that got, knocked for a loop yesterday?
Not as much as you would think. For the way I look at it is, this year is the only year that it needs to be done. Because in 162, Tim Kirkjian talked about it. I've talked about it enough. 162, that best team in that division, or the best team in the league, has earned the right to play a 5-game series at home. Doing winning that whole thing, because the best team usually wins out. In a 60-game season, we could see some screwy things that, like, maybe the best team really isn't the one seed going into it, right? It's all about clicking. So the sense of urgency for me is you can't get too big of a hole, because the 1 and 2 in each division getting in no matter what is a big deal. I think this is where I don't really like that, because the NL East is in a totally different place than the NL Central and then the NL West. The NL West is going to be ran away by the Dodgers. It should in all aspects. So they'll be fighting for that number 2 spot. Everywhere else, I feel like is whatever. Like they're not really going to be great matchups. You could say this NL Central, but I just don't see it. Like the Reds could be really good if they hit on all cylinders with their pitching, but the NL East have played the AL East. I mean, it's just going to be a bloodbath as far as baseball goes. They're going to be, 35, 36, 37 wins might be the winner of the division. That's the way I look at this one, and it's hard to see a team in a lesser division overtaking some of the teams because they're the number 2 seed and or in their division, and it just doesn't make sense to me. If you're gonna do 16-team playoff, give me 8 of the best teams. Give me all 8 best teams, and then we'll roll with it. But don't give me like 1 and 2 automatically make it. You win a division, you're automatically in. After that, it's the best record.
Kevin Franson, thank you so much for your time. We'll look forward to seeing Aaron Nola on the mound for the first time in this 2020 season tonight against the Marlins, 6 o'clock.
I can't wait.
Yeah,
I can't wait.
It's going to be entertaining. Thanks a lot.
All right, fellas.
Appreciate it, Kevin.
Take a break here on Hanging with Hester and Hanny. We are brought to you by Richard's Honda, home of the warm and fuzzy feeling on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hanging with Hester and Hanny. Our listeners fire off their opinions on the jimsfirearms.net hotline at 499-1045. Keep listening for your next chance to shoot us your thoughts with the jimsfirearms.net hotline on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
If I built a van, it would do more than haul.
It would carry my entire business. I'd make it available in dozens. Make that thousands of configurations.
It would keep an eye on my fleet.
And an eye out for danger. If I built a van, I'd make it available in diesel and gas. And I'd build it right here in South Carolina.
Introducing the all-new Sprinter, starting at $33,790. Built in the USA. Mercedes-Benz. Vans. Born to run.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is a local bank with a straightforward philosophy.
It's about doing the right thing for our customers.
Participating in our community with annual local fundraisers. Offering individual attention in a modern banking atmosphere with a trusted local company. Gulf Coast Bank invested in technology with a local touch, giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime.
We're building relationships through personal service as the bank that cares about you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Auctioner.
To all of our heroes working on the front lines of this COVID-19 pandemic, your bravery and selflessness represent the very best of us, and we want to say thank you. I'm asking everyone around the state to join me in celebrating the heroism of our healthcare professionals on the 19th of every month at 1900 hours, that's 7 p.m. Write a note of appreciation, make plans to donate to charitable organizations, or say a prayer. To learn more, visit 19thanks.org. Thank you, and God bless.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
It's a Friday edition of Jimmy Ott's Game Time, live from Magnolia Bluffs Casino and Hotel in Natchez, Mississippi. Jimmy reacts to opening day in Major League Baseball and gets you ready for the weekend. Tune in from 6 to 8 p.m. on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hangin' with Hester and Hanny on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and 1130 The Tiger.
Go to 1045ESPN.com now through August 16th and take a quiz to see how prepared you are for hurricane season. Everyone who takes the quiz will instantly put their name in a drawing for a brand new EU 1000 generator from Bozeman Distributors. Get prepared for hurricane season from 1045 ESPN Baton Rouge and stay prepared with Bozeman Distributors.
Back here on Hanging with Hester and Hanny, we had a question about Mikey Matuk, who is with the Phillies. He had tested positive for the coronavirus at the very beginning of the restart, and he was cleared to report. But right for this second, he is not active on what I'm showing. So we had somebody asked about Matuk. He'd had to clear the virus protocol, which he did, but I'm guessing it put him behind. DJ LeMahieu also had to clear the virus protocol. He got activated yesterday, but didn't start for the Yankees. So Mikey is with his in his first year with Philadelphia after being with Detroit. So that's we'll monitor him and see when he's able to get back. We're going to switch over to football in the next hour with Ken Trahan with the Saints starting camp next week. We've also got some of the protocols going through with the restart of practice with a football today for the colleges. But a few more things on baseball tonight to watch some of the games that you had spotlighted. You've done a deep dive, man. I mean, you were so happy when I walked in today that and I was too. It's been a really, really good day for me already. So with some of the games we've got tonight, Astros going tonight against the Mariners, Verlander on the mound there. Cardinals going against the Pirates, Jack Flaherty going there. Twins and the White Sox, that may be the most interesting division in baseball.
It's a great pitching matchup tonight too.
Barrios and Giolito for the White Sox, and then tonight with the Giants and Dodgers in game number 2. So besides the Braves? Besides the Braves, what do you like? What do you like tonight?
Oh, what do I like tonight? I don't know. So teams like the White Sox, right? They're at home. They're underdogs. I think the White Sox are a team that can surprise a lot of people. I know everybody's kind of on the Twins bandwagon. I've heard a ton of people. They did win over 100 games last year, and you're right. That division, I think it's going to be exciting in the 60-game stretch to see what happens there in the Central. And I like where they're as far as having to play the NL Central as well. So I like this matchup tonight with the White Sox against the Twins. Another one that I'll be paying attention to, the Rays and the Blue Jays. I want to see the Blue Jays young players because, as we kind of joked earlier on when we first got together, Handy, if you had a dad who was a famous big leaguer, the Blue Jays probably drafted you and you're now a starter
right.
for them. But they do have a lot of talent. And the Rays were kind of that team I talked about last week that could go out there and win 92 games. Nobody talks about them. But they have got a lot of pieces that work really well together. The Blue Jays and the Rays, that's another one I'm paying attention to.
I want to watch a little bit of Pirates Cardinals tonight. Jack Flaherty had one of the best second halves last year in the history of the National League. It's not a joke. For 16 starts, he had an ERA under 1. He held batters to a 137 average.
Yeah, the Braves played him in the playoffs, Hanny. I know.
I mean, it's not a household name necessarily, but you don't get him up at the top when people start talking about Scherzer or Kershaw or whoever, but the big names. But he was better than all of them last year. And they go against the Pirates tonight. We'll see if he can pick up where he left off. And how can you not watch a little bit of Madison Bumgarner going against San Diego? To see him outside of a Giants uniform, where he won 3 World Series, it's gonna be odd, don't you think?
It always is, and he's obviously on the other side of his career, but it's always odd when you see somebody who is so established, who is one of the best players in their franchise history, to go and to play for another team. I mean, growing up, I'll never forget the day I saw Joe Montana in a Kansas City Chiefs uniform. And I wasn't a Montana fan or anything, but we all knew because of the time I grew up. I mean, that was the standard. It was Joe Montana. And when he had a different uniform on, we had Phillip Rivers on last Friday. And when I introduced him, I mean, he said, "Whew, that does not sound right yet." And
we hadn't seen him in a Colts uniform yet.
Haven't.
He hasn't been in the building yet. That's why.
That's exactly.
He may not even have a jersey
You're
yet.
exactly right. But so when we have these guys, the first time you saw Peyton in a Broncos uniform, I mean, there's a ton of examples. But, I mean, this is one of the bigger ones because of what you said. He might be the best postseason pitcher of all time. And he won all those World Series. And that World Series he had against the Royals where he would pitch, it seemed like every single game. I mean, those are performances that you'll never forget. You'll know exactly what the uniform looked like. So it's going to be a little bit different. And the D-backs, terrible uniforms.
Well, they went back to the they're going back to the road grays.
They
got rid of the blacks.
I don't even know what you call that. Looks like you won it at an arcade and you had enough tickets to buy it.
No, they're going back to the traditional road grays this year.
Thank God.
The Rangers are opening their park, Globe Life Field. Paul, can we get a picture of Globe Life Field from the outside, not from the inside? Have you seen this thing? From the outside?
I have absolutely seen it. It looks like the Shreveport Expo Hall on the outside.
I was going to say Costco, but
that as well. But a good point that a lot of friends and colleagues that we have that live in the DFW area, they said, I don't care if it's the ugliest stadium that's ever been constructed, which it's close.
Yeah.
We won't be sweating through our clothes in the first inning watching Rangers baseball because that was the old ballpark in Arlington. That's what I'm always going to call it. Was one of the hottest places on earth. It was the Devil's Lair.
We have both been to games there, and you're absolutely right. I can't imagine. The only place I've ever been for a game that was hotter than that, hottest game I ever went to was a football game in College Station when I was in college, and they still had the old artificial turf, the very first game. So this is the first week in September. It was 112, I think, on field level, and we were in the stands, but we weren't very high up, and you could see the heat. I mean, that's the only place I've ever been that's any hotter than that.
I'm trying to think. The ones that come to my brain, we just talked about it. Ballpark in Arlington, Devil's Hot, College Station, Nike camp going into my junior year on their practice turf, the second, and anytime I was in Turner Field was always going to be the third. Those are 3 of the hottest places. Now, I mean, I can give you a million over at the Ponderosa in full pads when we saw the heat coming up.
Yeah.
I could tell you a ton of those, but not football related. That's the 3 hottest places in America.
Do you like ballparks that have a little quirk to them? You know, big wall, short porch, different dimensions.
Trains in the outfield like the Astros.
So, yeah, it's got a little bit of quirk. Here's your quirk with the Rangers' new park. It's 42 feet from home plate to the backstop. This is by far the shortest in the major leagues. And you get a good carom off of that on a wild pitch. Second base is not guaranteed to you, even if you can run well. If you got any kind of arm behind that plate, it's a very, very short distance to from home plate to that backstop. These things always take some getting used to. The amount of foul territory, the amount of room behind the plate. I remember the first time I went to TD Ameritrade Park, and they said, well, it's the same the same dimensions as Rosenblatt. I walked out there. I'm like, yeah, between the lines, man.
Right.
But you get outside the lines, there was enough foul territory. I mean, Alan Dunn had to go to the mound. He had to do it on the jogger. We'd have been there all day. It's like, look, when they talk Pitchers Park, they talk about the dimensions maybe, and they talk about the fact that the ball doesn't carry there, and it is, and it doesn't. The amount of foul territory is – I don't know if it's not worth 2 outs a game that they have the amount of room there. So this is just another little quirk with the Rangers Park.
And they're going to have to figure out how it plays because it could bounce anywhere. I mean, it's not going to bounce right back to you. The catchers could have some trouble too. I mean, it could hit this thing and it could, kind of squirt wherever it might go. So I always love that though. I mean, you got to figure out the park. You got to play it a little bit different. The Red Sox are always going to, when they sign players, when they do different things, hey, we got the monster out there. Is he a left fielder? Okay, well, we got to get used to that. Is he a right-handed hitter? Can he, all those type of things. So I love that.
The Yankee power bats, from the left side.
Yeah,
it's a short drive out
no doubt.
Out there to right field. We'll take a break here. We are brought to you by Richard's Honda, home of the warm and fuzzy feeling. Hanging with Hester and Hanny, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hanging with Hester and Hanny.
All right, Hungry Howie's is always making sure that you're taken care of with their incredible specials. Like right now, get any 2 items from the mix and match menu for just $5.99 each. Choose between pizza, salad, calzone, Howie bread, or a 4-pack of Pepsi. Forget having to decide between flavored crust pizza and Howie bread, and forget having to choose between a salad and a Howie cookie. You get the idea. Get whatever you want. It is that easy. Of course, they're home with the original flavor crust. So many different crusts to choose from. You're going to find one that you fall in love with. You're probably going to find multiple that you enjoy from Hungry Howie's. And they can also get that Hungry Howie's to you in multiple ways. You can order on hungryhowies.com. You can always pick up the phone and give them a call at 761-HOWIE. That Nicholson location is open from 10 a.m. until 4 a.m. You cannot beat the hours right there in South Baton Rouge by campus. And the Hungry Howie's app is always available to you. And that's not the only special they've got at Hungry Howie's. Go to hungryhowies.com. Look in the top right corner. Click on deals. You're going to find a deal that fits you. If it's just you, if it's a family, no matter what. Again, hungryhowies.com.
In times of need, get a full list of phone numbers, websites, and other important emergency information on the Demco Stormwatch page at 1045ESPN.com.
If I built a van, it would do more than haul.
It would carry my entire business. I'd make it available in dozens. Make that thousands of configurations.
It would keep an eye on my fleet.
In and eye out for danger. If I built a van, I'd make it available in diesel and gas. And I'd build it right here in South Carolina.
Introducing the all-new Sprinter, starting at $33,790. Built in the USA. Mercedes-Benz. Vans. Born to run.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is a local bank with a straightforward philosophy.
It's about doing the right thing for our customers.
Participating in our community with annual local fundraisers. Offering individual attention in a modern banking atmosphere with a trusted local company. Gulf Coast Bank invested in technology with a local touch, giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime.
We're building relationships through personal service as the bank that cares about you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
This isn't just another day. It's so much more. Kelly's life was put on hold when her auctioneer primary care doctor discovered a rare blood disorder. Her doctor connected her to an auctioneer care team of cancer, heart, and kidney specialists. With multiple primary care locations around Baton Rouge, same-day appointments, and online scheduling, we're relentless about keeping you healthy. Auctioneer Baton Rouge, innovating healthcare for Kelly.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMaster Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. ServiceMaster Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
To all of our heroes working on the front lines of this COVID-19 pandemic, your bravery and selflessness represent the very best of us, and we want to say thank you. I'm asking everyone around the state to join me in celebrating the heroism of our healthcare professionals on the 19th of every month at 1900 hours, that's 7 p.m. Write a note of appreciation, make plans to donate to charitable organizations, or say a prayer. To learn more, visit 19thanks.org.
Coming up on Monday's OTB, we recap a weekend full of sports. We'll recap one Pelicans scrimmage while previewing another, and the latest from LSU football as they open football school. Plus, we'll hand out our weekend winners off the bench, 7 to 10 a.m., 104.5 ESPN.
Hangin with Hester and Hanny on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and 1130 The Tiger.
Several people in the Bayou Ford Huddle talking about the hottest games that they've ever been to. The Gustav game against App State that started 10 a.m. was hot.
I watched that on TV from San Diego, and it looked like I felt the heat coming off the TV.
It was a scorcher. We started pregame at 5:30 that morning, and postgame. You know what the topic of postgame was?
The heat.
Contraflow.
I should have known that.
And Gustav, you were out in San Diego, but Gustav hit Baton Rouge harder than either Katrina or Rita did. There was more damage here. So we started pregame at 5 a.m. and postgame was all about contraflow. Another one, 2017 against Auburn, the 20-point comeback.
God.
That one.
So we had our 10-year reunion for the 07 championship team that day. I don't know if I've ever been that hot inside that stadium. I'm talking about full padded. I don't know if I've ever been that hot. And I like to sit up. So the way I like to watch an LSU game, or really any game, I like to sit up high in the end zone because that's how I watch film. And so you can see everything develop. And they just added those, where you could buy a beer up there. It was the first year of that. And I think it was like all you could eat or whatever. And so we sat up there, and it was great to see DJ Chark's punt return happen before it happened because of where you were sitting in the end zone copy. But let's just say the sun was leaning on you up there. It just rested right there on your neck.
It felt like you just couldn't breathe, right? Yeah. I mean, it's so hot. The another game that got brought up was the regional game in 1996 against Georgia Tech. LSU scored 18 runs in the 7th inning. And obviously won the game going away, but all of those baseball regionals sort of run together on me a little bit. They were just so ridiculously hot that I don't know that I can differentiate one from the other. Here's another one that was brought up, and I remember this one because I was a student at the time. It's a different Texas A&M game, but it was one that was played here. And this was in 1992, and they put that game on ABC, and ABC put the game at 2:30 on September the 5th in Baton Rouge, and it was mercilessly hot in that game. One of the posters in the Bayou Ford Huddle brought up a play. Robert Davis had broken a long run and got chased down from behind. And
Robert Davis, where he went to high school?
Robert, wow, no, he was one of Curly's Fab Five, but no, I don't remember where he went to high school.
Originally Logan Sport and transferred to Evangel.
Did he really? Okay,
yeah,
19.
Davis, Evangel.
That was what year was Evangel founded?
Yeah, early 90s.
Okay, because that would have been the really, really early days because he was on the 92 team. I had forgotten. That was before Evangel was Evangel, right? I mean, before they had achieved the type of success. Anyway, that game was an absolute scorcher. That I remember it very well. The Monday night Tennessee game was just so muggy. The Rita game.
Yeah, I mean it wasn't as hot, but I don't remember that one.
It
being as hot. Maybe it's because I was still mad at the way
the sun wasn't beaten down. But it was muggy, and everybody. You wore out. The dehydration was real. I think the team just kind of – it was 3 weeks worth of building towards everything they'd been through with Katrina, the Rita reschedule, the muggy. It was 21-0, and it all like kind of like the team had reached its breaking point. It felt like at that point. Week one, the Texas game last year was hot. I wasn't there.
The Texas game was so hot that in between segments, Gordy and I were sticking our head in a refrigerator that was on field level.
Okay. 1997 South Alabama regional games. Yeah, that was the double game on Memorial Day. Yes, it was absolutely scorching. But again, all of those baseball games run together for me. Anyway, we got more Ken Trahan with us in hour number 2. We'll talk a little bit of Saints football with him. We're brought to you by Richard's Honda, home of the warm and fuzzy feeling. Hanging with Hester and Hanny, 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
Hangin' with Hester and Hanny.
GMFS Mortgage, GMFSmortgage.com. When they talk about changing lives, they're talking about changing your budget every single month, and for the better. Right now, with rates at historic lows, if you want to get into the housing market, you may have more purchasing power than you've ever had before. Or for refi, seems like the thing to do right now to free up a little bit of cash here in phase 2, the ability to skip a mortgage payment or two and to lower your rate for better long-term savings. Now might be the time to go to GMFSmortgage.com. You'll sit with a local counselor, answer a few questions, and then they will outline all of your choices so you'll make the best decision. And from there all the way to the close, they'll take you step by step with no surprises and a very rapid return. GMFSmortgage.com has helped thousands upon thousands of people, including myself. So call right now. GMFS Mortgage, GMFSmortgage.com. They really are changing lives.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is a local bank with a straightforward philosophy.
It's about doing the right thing for our customers.
Participating in our community with annual local fundraisers. Offering individual attention in a modern banking atmosphere with a trusted local company. Gulf Coast Bank invested in technology with a local touch, giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime.
We're building relationships through personal service as the bank that cares about you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Auctioner.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
Callahan Injury Lawyers. Now, Hangin with Hester and Hanny with Jacob Hester and Charles Hanagriff. Hester and Hanny on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and 1130 The Tiger. Alongside Jacob Hester, here's Charles Hanagriff.
Hour number 2, Hanging with Hester and Hanny, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Ken Trahan here in about 15 minutes as the Saints get ready to open camp for real next week. In hour number 3, David Delucci on the opening of Major League Baseball and Mike Golic Jr. Lots of things going on at Notre Dame right now as they try to put together a schedule. But, you know, we talk here a little bit about the local stuff going on, and we got two things I want to cover. Number one, Eric Gilbert named Gatorade Player of the Year. Give me an idea. Obviously, the first tight end to receive that award. To be able to make that kind of an impact on the game from tight end. I mean, I think we all know what type of recruit he is and how much, I want to say hype. How many credentials he comes with. This is to win this award at the tight end position, I mean, it's difficult to comprehend, I guess.
Yeah, and so if you don't know how the Gatorade Player of the Year works, what they do is they select a male and a female athlete from 12 different sports, 12 male sports, 12 female sports, and then all 12 of those contestants, they go against each other, obviously, for the overall. So this isn't just the Gatorade National Football Player of the Year. He already won that award. This is for the Gatorade Player of the Year overall for every male sport. Yeah. In high school athletics. So it's a gigantic deal. And he's coming with that into LSU. He's coming with all of the hype, all the praise, all the credentials. His resume looks as good as anyone that ever played the tight end position in modern recruiting. He is the highest rated tight end in the history of 247 Sports. And so everyone is expecting Eric Gilbert, including everyone across the street, to be a guy that contributes to this team from day one at the tight end position. Thaddeus Moss changed what the tight end position means to LSU. He was a little bit of a different tight end. Now, I think Thaddeus probably was a little bit more in line. I am struggling today.
Here.
Go. Button.
All right.
It didn't help, though.
Okay.
See, I'm getting choked up talking about Eric Gilbert.
We got a whole segment to go, so you're going to have to suck it up here a little bit.
Hanny, it's Friday. I got to go. I have to cough.
Sorry about that.
So he's not going to be as in line as Thaddeus Moss was, as Foster Moreau was, but those two players were different as well. But he's got a role. They're going to figure it out. And he's a big guy. He's not just, is he a receiver? No, he is 250 pounds in every bit of it. So if they want him to be more of an inline blocker, he has the ability to do it, but he's so talented there in the slot. I don't know how much he'll do it. When he's blocking, I would assume, too, to get him more comfortable, he'll be on the move, a little bit of short motion, some shifts to get him in the correct position, things like that. Not just hand in the dirt, hey, I'm a Y tight end. He'll be more of an F tight end.
There's so many things that I'm looking forward to seeing with him, but none more than in the red zone. I just got to believe this guy's going to be a matchup nightmare in the red zone and being able to essentially post him up against smaller defenders. And if I'm Miles Brennan, start throwing fades. and right now, I don't know who you put on that guy. If you're going to throw a fade from inside, say the 15-yard line, who's going to guard that guy?
Who do you cover? Jamar Chase, who can take the ball off anybody's helmet. I mean, he's going to reach over him. He can jump higher.
Mm-hmm.
Terrace Marshall, who's got the size. Gilbert, who has the size. Or Racy McMath, that is 6'3". He can jump out of the gym. In the red area next year, I'd love to see what coverage these teams are going to play against LSU. I don't know what you play. I really don't know how you cover all of the targets that they have. And, you're going to have somebody that's going over the middle of the football field that's probably pretty good too. Now, who plays the slot in this offense? We'll find out. Coach Insminger talked about, Jamar's not going to just line up in one spot. He's going to be all over the place. It could be him, right? He could be the guy in the middle of the football field that takes advantage of a weaker coverage. And so
Jefferson caught 115 balls last year, mostly almost exclusively from the slot.
Yeah, and hey, a guy that, and I'll throw my hand up and I'll say I have not done a good job talking about him, is Trey Palmer. Trey Palmer has already got a punt return for a touchdown in his LSU career, and we barely saw any of him at receiver. He played a bunch of special teams. We've all seen Trey Palmer at Kentwood and what he can do. We know his skill set. His skill set is shown over on the practice field, but he was behind a first-round pick that caught over 110 footballs. He could slide into the slot, Hanny, very easily. He could slide into the slot and be Jefferson.
You get him in man coverage, and you want to talk about stretch the field. Good luck trying to find somebody who can run
I'll be
with
honest,
him.
too. I'd love to see him at punt returner. I think can Stingley do it? Yeah, you bet. Derek Stingley. We've seen him do it in small spurts, but that's QB or cornerback one. I want him to be cornerback one, and that's what he does.
I do too.
If you feel comfortable about Trey Palmer catching the football, that's always the part of it, right?
Right.
But if you let Trey Palmer be that guy back there.
Stingley also seemed like he, after the Auburn game, the fumble punt against the Auburn game, it seemed like he lost a little bit of confidence back there. It seemed like it was more of a fair catch type deal. I think they got a whole lot of, not that it ended up mattering, but it just seemed like after that one, it kind of dinged his confidence a little bit. Practice starting out there with footballs, as long as you disinfect them. There's some strange things going on around the country when it comes to football practice right now. For instance, I saw the video of the coaches at North Carolina. They were all wearing face shields, okay?
Yeah.
And at Notre Dame wearing clear masks so that they would not have the spittle come out, but that the players could see their reactions. They built these masks that were clear for teachers that taught kids that were hearing impaired so that they could still read lips. But the football coaches are using them. And Mac Brown's walking around with this 6-foot stick, okay? This 6-foot social distancing stick. And please tell me how you conduct a practice when everybody has to be 6 feet apart, because I hadn't been to as many football practices as you have, but I've been to plenty, and I just don't know how you practice with if everybody's got to be 6 feet apart.
You don't. Everybody right now is being tested, and you're going through all the protocols, so honestly, you don't have to. Last night, you're not supposed to high-five in dugouts. What did we see?
We saw a little bit of that.
Every time that they hit a home run. Now, we saw some guys that would hit the high-five, and then they go, oh, and they stick their foot out.
Yeah, the foot thing's catching on, maybe?
It's not going to be anytime soon. That's what it is. But everyone in that building's been tested, right? And so now that's not to say it's going to look like normal, Hanny, but I don't expect Coach O to have a yardstick. Let's put it that way. I don't expect Coach O to have a face shield on. Now, if he has a mask, okay, but I don't expect him to have a face shield on because they have protocols. They believe in their protocols. Their protocols have been working. So no yardsticks and no face cover as far as the shield. What do we call that?
It's a face shield.
I feel like it's got to. We should church it up a little bit.
It's a grinding shield.
See, that sounds more churched up. A grinding shield.
A grinding shield. You know what a grinder is? A metal grinder.
Yes.
Okay. You worked in a machine shop when I was in high school. That's what you put on. You don't have to put on a full welding mask to be able to grind. You just put on.
How good would it be if they had welding mask out there?
Well, the welding masks are a lot more restrictive than the grinding mask.
Sure.
So you don't want to have
welding
to put
mask.
that
You got
on.
a rectangle to look out of.
You do, and they're a lot bulkier and they're a lot hotter. So you wear the clear shield when all you're doing is grinding.
Never in my 35 years did I think I'd be on sports radio talking about welding shields at football practice.
No, I didn't either. Did you ever think that okay, so here's what's the other problem that you would have if you're a coach and you have to wear a mask? You can't blow a whistle. So what are they
Hey, let me tell you, Coach O is a whistle user.
Okay, so you if you have the mask on, obviously you can't blow the whistle. So what are they doing? Baylor and Dave Aranda, among the teams that are using electronic whistles, you push a button, and there is an electronic relay to the whistle sound somewhere else on the practice field.
That's a real thing.
That's a real thing. They're doing it at Notre Dame. They're doing it at Stanford. They're doing it at Baylor. I'm not making this stuff up. I promise you, it's a buzzer, just like you're on Jeopardy, okay? And you push the buzzer and the whistle blows so that they do not spray spittle. I'm telling you, all of this stuff is what they're doing.
I believe you, but
are you taking it a bit far? Is all of that necessary? I don't know.
I think so. A whistle. You can't have a mask on pull it up and blow the whistle with the mask covering the whistle, it's still going to make a noise.
It's going to be muffled, I guess. I don't know. It's a pain in the butt to have to lift that mask up every time you want to blow the whistle.
I mean, I guess.
You sat right here and said every day for the last 2 months, okay? Well, we've only been doing the show about 3 weeks. Every day for the last 3 weeks, same thing I've said. Whatever it takes to get football back.
Hanny,
okay?
For sure, but this one.
So this is apparently what it takes. It's yardsticks, grinding shields, and electronic relay whistles.
Yeah.
Welcome to 2020, my friend.
What in the hell?
What the hell's going on out there?
I mean, welding mask and yardsticks. Yeah.
Something like that. Yes. Except a lot louder.
See, I know I'm old school, and look, I'm all for if a mask helps, let's wear it. I'm all for social distancing. Y'all know that. Y'all listen to the show. But I'm also a little old school. A whistle's a whistle out there in the football field. Somebody go across the street and tell Tommy Moffitt he can't blow his whistle. I'd love to hear that conversation.
Well, you got also meeting room issues. If you got people that are too close together in meeting rooms, the offensive line, for instance, that's a pretty big group.
Yeah, their room's huge, though.
Well,
meeting room wise, they can do it.
And a lot of schools, they're talking about the offensive line, which is usually the biggest group, has the full team meeting room, and they've turned that into a private meeting room.
So just to give you, LSU's offensive line room is very, very large. I think they could definitely still fit in their offensive line meeting room. I guess your smaller positions are the ones that would really have to make sure they're doing it. Typically, everywhere I've ever been, the smallest rooms are the quarterback and the running back rooms because the numbers are the lightest there, especially in the pros. As far as running backs, you'll maybe carry 4. Quarterbacks, you're going to carry 3. A lot of teams carry 2. So those rooms are always a little bit smaller, but still maybe the running backs would have a challenge. But I can tell you the offensive line over there across the street, it's plenty big enough.
You got to have room for about 20, right?
Offensive linemen?
Yeah.
If you're talking about
you may not have 20 scholarship linemen, but 20.
No, you won't be close.
But 20, you'll have 15 if you're doing your job. You'll have 15 to 16.
You'll have 15
because you're going to have 3 or 4 walk-ons.
You're going to have some preferred walk-ons that have earned scholarships and different things, and that actually
somewhere between 15 and 20.
Yeah, and you got plenty of room
if you're doing it right.
You got a coach, obviously, maybe a GA, depending on where you're at.
Yeah. Ken Trahan, when we come back, this is Hanging with Hester and Hanny. We are on YouTube, our page 1045 ESPN Plus, the Hangin page that you can get all of the highlights from previous shows. We're on CST 1130, the Tiger in Shreveport, and 1045 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hanging with Hester and Hanny.
All right, as you know, we're brought to you by Hungry Howie's every single day. So many different deals taking place over at Hungry Howie's. We love the $5.99 choose to mix and match menu items, but also, look, they got plenty of deals. All you got to do is go to hungryhowies.com. We tell you every single day because they've got deals to fit where you're at in your life. If it's just you by yourself, they've got lunch specials. They've got family specials, all there at hungryhowies.com. Of course, it's home of the original flavored crust, butter, buttered cheese, Asiago cheese, ranch, onion, Cajun, sesame, garlic, herb. As you can tell, they have got an option for everyone with that flavored crust. You can also check out the full menu at hungryhowies.com. We love the Hungry Howie's app as well because you can schedule when your pizza gets delivered. You can schedule that out. It also gives you so many different options. You can go a little old school. Pick up the phone. Give them a call, 761-HOWIE. Also, a ton of carry-out specials you can find at hungryhowies.com. That location right there on Nicholson, 10 a.m. until 4 a.m. That's Hungry Howie's and hungryhowies.com.
We opened up the playbook and expanded our coverage. Listen daily in high definition on 98.1 HD2. We are 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
If I built a van, it would do more than haul.
It would carry my entire business. I'd make it available in dozens. Make that thousands of configurations.
It would keep an eye on my fleet.
And an eye out for danger. If I built a van, I'd make it available in diesel and gas. And I'd build it right here in South Carolina.
Introducing the all-new Sprinter, starting at $33,790. Built in the USA. Mercedes-Benz. Vans. Born to run.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is a local bank with a straightforward philosophy.
It's about doing the right thing for our customers.
Participating in our community with annual local fundraisers, offering individual attention in a modern banking atmosphere with a trusted local company. Gulf Coast Bank invested in technology with a local touch, giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime.
We're building relationships through personal service as the bank that cares about you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
This isn't just another day. It's so much more. Kelly's life was put on hold when her auctioneer primary care doctor discovered a rare blood disorder. Her doctor connected her to an auctioneer care team of cancer, heart, and kidney specialists. With multiple primary care locations around Baton Rouge, same-day appointments, and online scheduling, we're relentless about keeping you healthy. Auctioneer Baton Rouge, innovating healthcare for Kelly.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMaster Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. ServiceMaster Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
To all of our heroes working on the front lines of this COVID-19 pandemic, your bravery and selflessness represent the very best of us, and we want to say thank you. I'm asking everyone around the state to join me in celebrating the heroism of our healthcare professionals on the 19th of every month at 1900 hours, that's 7 p.m. Write a note of appreciation, make plans to donate to charitable organizations, or say a prayer. To learn more, visit 19thanks.org. Thank you, and God bless.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona inviting you to join us for Friday's AFR presented by Don Juan Cigar Bar. The Riot Radio Hours return. We'll recap an opening night of baseball, and the football Tigers are on the field. Join us, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hangin with Hester and Hanny on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and 1130 The Tiger.
And we're brought to you by Richard's Honda, home with a warm and fuzzy feeling. Joining us now from Crescent City Sports and, of course, the New Orleans Saints Hall of Fame is our friend Ken Trahan. Ken, good afternoon. How are you?
Oh, just fine. Just been watching the rainfall over here in South Mississippi here. So it's been kind of crazy for the last 24 hours or so, but hey, doing fine otherwise.
And tell everybody what you're doing in Mississippi with Ricky Jackson and company.
Yeah, putting on Pro Football Alumni Celebration here for 2 days. Yesterday I had our reception and auction last night, and then golf tournament today that was, of course, kind of preempted by rain. Got in a little bit, and then the rain came, and then it came again, and then it came again, and then we just decided we're going to eat and give out awards, and so we're just finishing up with that as we speak. But Ricky Jackson Community Hope Foundation benefits and feeds underprivileged children in the New Orleans area and benefits those who really don't have the privileges of having two parents or having even homes for that matter. So it's a wonderful cause. Ricky is a great friend and, of course, one of the preeminent players, not just in New Orleans Saints history, but NFL history, a Pro Football Hall of Famer. So we've had a ton of guys over here just having a great time, and not just former Saints, but a bunch of former NFL players as well of note. Hugh Green over here, and Lawrence Taylor's been over here. We've got, Bobby Brister, Maurice Hurst. I could go on and on, some guys you probably know. And then, of course, a whole bunch of former Saints players, including some former Tiger players like Skylar Green, Marlon Favorite, among others. So we've had just a ton of guys over here that are just having a great time and
somehow I think they'll find something to do despite the fact that we got kicked off the golf course a short time ago.
Sounds like you got the whole 81 draft there, man. You got Lawrence Taylor, you got Hugh Green, you got Ricky Jackson. I mean, they were all on that same big draft in 81.
Hanny, every name that he said, I got just more and more nervous. I was going to somehow have to block one of those guys off the edge.
There's a whole bunch of good players now. And it's interesting because last year when I did my events here, we had George Rogers here. George won the Heisman Trophy, and Hugh Green was the runner-up that year. But Hugh got Player of the Year. And, of course, as it turned out, although he was really good on the NFL level, he wasn't as good as his running mate, Ricky Jackson, on the other side at Pitt. They were pretty good as a pair. So, look, just a great time, great guys. Deuce McAllister over here, Michael Lewis over here. I could go down the list of just a whole bunch of people that you know them all and you respect and like them all. Joe Johnson, one of our Saints Hall of Fame inductees. So a whole bunch of guys that just having a great time. And it's always fun to watch these guys get together and spend time together because the fellowship is probably the best part of it. Fans certainly enjoy it. They get to see guys and meet guys and get pictures and autographs. But watching these guys commiserate amongst each other, that's really, I think, the pleasure of it all from my perspective.
Yeah, when you start talking about some of those names, obviously they were in the same draft class for the Saints, and the Saints, of course, some other teams out in the NFL, but I always talk about when the Saints have a great draft, man, they hit it, and they hit it 100% because they'll have some of those drafts where those teams stay together, and there's some of the franchise builders, and obviously Ricky Jackson was a part of one of those, and I love this draft class they have this year, and I know some people have got questions about it. I know I got a guy sitting next to me that at the time there was a Cesar Ruiz pick, and he was questioning it, but when you look at this class, I mean, I think that they feel a need, and they feel a need for the Saints really from top to bottom, almost every pick. And it was a small draft. It wasn't a big draft, but you got some late rounders that can make an impact on this team.
Yeah, I think it's one of those situations where you have to just ignore the immediacy when you react because the immediacy was, what are they picking a center for? And they've already got a guy that was in his first year in the league and by all accounts matured into the position, did a pretty good job, and has a really good future in Eric McCoy. But the second part of that is simple. They picked the best player on their board, and the flexibility that exists with these guys made it very attractive. McCoy can play guard, so can Ruiz. And they just liked this guy. He was the top guy on their board. And listen, everybody wants to talk about the glamorous nature of the New Orleans Saints, about how they are so good skill-wise, and, man, they can put up points, and they have all these weapons. The fact of the matter is the reason that New Orleans became a threat to win it all again over the last 3 years is because they built from the inside out on both offense and defense. And that trend continues. So it didn't surprise me at all that they went in this direction. All you need to do is look at their lines and see how they have built them. Teron Armstead, early round draft pick. Ryan Ramchick, first round draft pick. Andrew Speed, first round draft pick. Cesar Ruiz, first round draft pick. Eric McCoy, early draft pick. Defense, Marcus Davenport, first round draft pick. Sheldon Rankins, first round draft pick. Cameron Jordan, first round draft pick. You get the gist of it? I mean, that's how they've built a team from the inside out, and that's how they've become successful. It has worked for them, no question about it.
Ken, going into this camp, one of the questions was what the combination of McCoy and Ruiz would look like, which one would be at center and which one would be at guard. Now the Saints are faced with the prospect of no preseason games for the new line, in whichever combination it is, will be able to work together. So with no preseason game reps, how big a concern do you think that is for Sean Payton?
Well, I think that might be one of the few concerns that they have, but certainly it's a concern. If you had the OTAs and mini camps, aside from the preseason, where you get a long, hard look at Ruiz at center, and you get the line calls down, which you know are so important. And then, of course, just the ability to understand how the other guy next to you works. And they won't have that. So I think what we're going to find out is just how much they like or love Ruiz as a center. Because if they put him at that position to start off in training camp, then you're going to know how much they like him. If they put him at guard, it would suggest exactly what you spoke of, the fact that there wasn't enough time to really get him acclimated, and McCoy already has that. Now, he'll have a new running mate, he being McCoy, if he has the center position locked down again, because there's no Larry Warford, whom the Saints obviously wanted to move on from based upon the numbers involved and based upon they were not happy about the playoff game and the performance against Minnesota last year. So either way, they feel like they've improved their offensive line by letting a guy go that was an average to marginal guy at a high number as compared to a young guy that has a lot of talent, and pairing him with another young guy from a year ago who has a lot of talent. So I'm not sure which way they're going to go. They haven't disclosed that, and we're going to find out though pretty quickly. We'll see who's lining up where when they start training camp.
Ken, when I found out about, there being no preseason in the NFL, the first guy that came to mind was a guy that I had on the show, and I thought really was going to find his role in the preseason from the Saints draft class. That was Tommy Stevens, the quarterback out of Mississippi State. We didn't really know what the Saints had in mind for him. We know that they wanted him. They traded for him to get into the draft. And Tommy Stevens, in my mind, was a guy that needed a preseason to kind of go out there and show you what exactly he could do. You could have some fun. You could toy with some different, places with him on the field, receiver, running back, quarterback, whatever. So right now that we don't have that opportunity, what do you think his chances of being on this team are?
Become lesser because of it, but I think they invested in him, and one way or the other, I don't know if they want to risk him with waivers, so I think they probably are going to have to keep him unless they don't like him. Clearly, they envisioned him being along the lines of Taysom Hill with the kind of role that they saw. Hill gave them the blueprint. The other part of that was simple. Joe Brady was enamored of Stevens, and Sean Payton wasn't going to let a division rival grab him and try to utilize him in that vein. So that was obvious to me. The other part of not having the preseason or training camp is the fact that the Saints have done as good, if not a better job than anybody of identifying undrafted free agent value in this regime. There's so many names you could point to, but look at last year with Deontay Harris. This guy's a first-team All-Pro. He's the best return man in the game, and he was an afterthought. They had signed a guy from the Vikings to be their return guy who was hurt and never got the chance. Harris steps in and does this, and then, of course, everybody knows about the previous guys. You could go down a whole list of names, but we got a couple of guys that we inducted into the Saints Hall of Fame, and Lance Moore and Pierre Thomas, who were undrafted. You had Willie Snead, who was undrafted. There's just been a plethora of those guys. They've done a great job of uncovering those hidden gems, and I think this year it's probably going to be hard to do because they won't have the ability to go out and show themselves or prove themselves as often as they would have. So I think this year there were very few roster spots available anyway. You can pencil in the first 3 draft picks. They're on the roster. You can probably pencil in Stevens. You pencil in Emmanuel Sanders. You pencil in a defensive lineman acquisition. So that's about 6 spots. And beyond that, it's hard to imagine more than maybe one more guy making this roster that is a guy that's currently not on the roster or wasn't on the roster last year.
Ken, another thing that they've got to do before they get started in earnest next week is they've got to get the roster right. When the draft picks sign, which I imagine is going to be over the weekend or on Monday, the roster swells to 90. It's got to be 80 if all of these things are put in place by Tuesday. So that's 10 guys, and I got to imagine that undrafted free agent list of which they signed 13, including LSU's Adrian McGee. I would imagine that those cuts are going to come from that list. Okay, let's see if we can get him back up. The list is 13. Last year, the Saints had 17 undrafted free agents that they brought in for camp. 5 of them played in at least one game last year. Right. He mentioned Deontay Harris. The other 2 that really made an impact were Carl Granderson and Shy Tuttle. Those were along that defensive line, and he's exactly right when he says they have really unearthed some contributors. In the case of Harris, a major contributor. And I can't imagine they may purge a veteran or 2, especially if they can maybe come to an injury settlement with, a player or 2. But I would imagine that the bulk of that 10-player cut down is going to come from this undrafted free agent.
Yeah, this is going to be one of the hardest rosters in the NFL to make already, too, because of all the veteran players, because of all the talent that they had. So those players are going to have an uphill battle already. All right. Do we have him back, Cade? No. Okay. Tell you what, we're going to go to break here, and we will be back coming up in hour number 3. David Delucci and Mike Golic Jr. This is Hangin with Hester and Hanny, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hangin with Hester and Hanny.
All right, we're brought to you by Baton Rouge Foundation Repair. Check them out online at brfoundation.com. You can check out their warranties there, right there with the slab foundations and the pier and beam foundations. You can check out a full list of services. You can check out pictures of what they've done in the past for your neighbors here in Baton Rouge. Are you considering buying a house that has foundation problems? Well, some companies say that their work will fail if there's poor drainage around your slab, and you might be asked to pay again. Baton Rouge Foundation Repair's water shield pilings are engineered to withstand poor drainage conditions. Baton Rouge Foundation Repair has been servicing the Baton Rouge area for 22 years. Michael LaMonica, the owner of Baton Rouge Foundation Repair, he is a stand-up guy. The community means so much to him. It is the number one thing that we talk about. Don't be asked to pay twice for your foundation repair work. Get Foundation Repair's water shield pilings, and estimates are always free. Baton Rouge Foundation Repair can be reached at 225-275-0101. That's 225-275-0101 and brfoundation.com.
Off the Bench, Hangin with Hester and Hanny. After further review and more are all live daily on the 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge YouTube page. Subscribe now to interact with us inside the live chat. Find highlights for each show's channel and get notified whenever we go live.
If I built a van, it would do more than haul.
It would carry my entire business. I'd make it available in dozens. Make that thousands of configurations.
It would keep an eye on my fleet.
In an eye out for danger. If I built a van, I'd make it available in diesel and gas. And I'd build it right here in South Carolina.
Introducing the all-new Sprinter, starting at $33,790. Built in the USA. Mercedes-Benz. Vans. Born to run.
Divorce is hard. Divorce is messy. Divorce is exhausting. The law offices of O.C. Brown walked me through my divorce and helped me find the right solution for me, my kids, my finances, and my property.
Call the law offices of O.C. Brown, your law firm for a lifetime.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is a local bank with a straightforward philosophy.
It's about doing the right thing for our customers.
Participating in our community with annual local fundraisers, offering individual attention in a modern banking atmosphere with a trusted local company. Gulf Coast Bank invested in technology with a local touch, giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime.
We're building relationships through personal service as the bank that cares about you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Auctioner.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Hey, T-Bob, sports wouldn't be the same without the die-hard fans, so we're highlighting the fans that do it the most.
Every week, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge brings you the Citizens Bank Fan of the Week. Check it out, 104.5ESPN.com.
It's the Citizens Bank Fan of the Week.
It's a Friday edition of Jimmy Ott's Game Time, live from Magnolia Bluffs Casino and Hotel in Natchez, Mississippi. Jimmy reacts to opening day in Major League Baseball and gets you ready for the weekend. Tune in from 6 to 8 p.m. on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hangin with Hester and Hanny on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and 1130 The Tiger.
Yeah, Ken got me to thinking when he was rattling off some of those names that he had down at their event. That 81 draft class, he's got Lawrence Taylor down there, was the second pick in that draft, Hall of Famer.
Is he any good?
He had Hugh Green out of that class, who was a multi-time Pro Bowler, was a Player of the Year. That was out of the 81 draft. This one's got a little bit of a kind of a soft spot for me, because the Saints had the number one pick. They took George Rogers, who was a really good player, but Lawrence Taylor was one of a kind, and he went with the second pick. But it's widely considered as one of the best drafts in NFL history, probably since the merger, only behind the 83 draft. 7 players out of that draft class made the Hall of Fame, and 4 of them went after the first round. Yeah. Taylor went. Kenny Easley was the 4th pick in that draft. Ronnie Lott was the 8th pick in that draft.
Where'd Howie Long go in that draft?
In the second round. He was the 48th pick in the draft, Villanova, and he was the 48th pick in the draft by the Raiders. He went 3 picks in front of Ricky Jackson, who was the Saints' second round pick that year. They had 2. They took a safety from Nebraska named Russell Gary with the first pick. Mike Singletary was in that draft, and Russ Grimm, the guard who played for the Redskins, made it. But there were also some Hall of Fame finalists that did not get drafted at all. Joe Jacoby, who was a part of that same the Hogs offensive line with Grimm, wasn't even drafted that year. He was out of Louisville, and he ended up being a Hall of Fame finalist. So did Everson Walls, who was out of Grambling, and ended up being a terrific player for the Cowboys. I think he still holds a rookie record for interceptions in the NFL. Neither one of those guys were drafted, and they were both Hall of Fame finalists at one point. Jim Burt, the terrific nose tackle for the Giants, wasn't either. So it's only the second most Hall of Famers in any class since the merger. You like Hall of Fame trivia? Or am I,
No, I'm all good. And so obviously I was
negative. He got me on a tangent for a second.
No, it's all good, because I love my my trivia and my history. I was -4 when the 81 draft took place.
Right, I understand.
But obviously I know
that's
a lot.
What I'm here for.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I think we're a great duo. But all these names, obviously, I respect all of them. Ricky Jackson was really the first pro football player that I remember being a fan of, having the jersey, geeking out when I got his autograph at the Superdome after we went to a game, and I sat there and I waited. My mom so the pen that she had, because it wasn't Sharpies. You didn't have Sharpies. Mm-hmm. But the pen that my mom had, it ran out of ink. And so my mom, being a savvy vet, she brought her makeup pencil out and found a way for him to be able to sign an autograph, and we still had that to this day. And so now I'm all for the conversation. But when you were talking, I was looking up George Rogers' stats, because I knew he won the Heisman Trophy. I knew he was the number 1 overall pick. I knew he led the league his rookie year in rushing. But I remember his career, taking a hit after that. And I remember injuries played a part, some other things, and he didn't last in the league as long as most number 1 picks do. He played 7 seasons. Only 4 with New Orleans. So I want to ask you this, as a lifelong Saints fan: does it take a little bit of the sting off in the fact that you didn't draft Lawrence Taylor, because you did get a Hall of Famer in Ricky Jackson, even though the number 1 pick didn't live up to be obviously Lawrence Taylor?
Back then, if there was a number 1 pick, the running backs so much dominated the game at that point.
I was born 20 years too late.
And what Bum Phillips saw in George Rogers was the next Earl Campbell. He thought he had his Earl Campbell from his successful days over in Houston.
Right.
And George Rogers was going to lead the league in rushing unless he got hurt, because they were going to run him until he could not run anymore. And that was Bum Phillips's philosophy. That's what they were going to do. That's what he had been successful with before. Does it sound like anybody you know? You're just going to run the ball, and then run it some more. And it had been such a big departure, because in 1979, 2 years before, Archie Manning was the NFC Offensive Player of the Year. They had Wes Chandler, who was a burner from Florida. They had Henry Childs, who was a terrific tight end. They had Ike Harris, who was a very good player. And they threw the ball a ton to the backs where, Tony Galbraith and even Chuck Muncie caught some balls. So they were a very, very good offensive team in 1979. And then the whole thing just fell apart on them in 1980.
They all went to the Chargers.
Well, yeah, Chandler and Muncie ended up with the Chargers, but the bottom fell out of the entire team in 1980 when they went 1-15. So yeah, that and when Bum Phillips came in, we're going to rebuild the defense and we are going to run the football. That was in 1981. That's what you did.
All right, since I messed up earlier and I got my Robert Davises from LSU mixed up a couple years apart, I'm going to throw some trivia at you because you're smarter than I am. How many I'll give you the number, actually. There's been 5 New Orleans Saints that have won a Heisman Trophy, and they were drafted by the Saints. Can you give me the 5?
Well, let's see. George Rogers won the Heisman.
Yep.
Danny Werfel won the Heisman. Ricky Williams won the Heisman. I'm going to miss somebody really obvious because you're asking me like this. I'm sure I'm missing somebody really, really obvious. Hang on a second. Danny Werfel won the Heisman Trophy.
The fact that you rolled off Danny Werfel as the first name, that's impressive already.
That was when Ditka was drafting. Nobody else would have taken Werfel that high. Who's the obvious one that I'm missing here?
Reggie Bush.
Reggie Bush, yeah.
But I guess does he have his Heisman?
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah. And the last one would be, got one more. Same position as Reggie Bush.
Oh, running backs. Everybody out there is calling me a dope right now because I'm just not.
Played for the least favorite team in the world to you.
Oh gosh. Okay. Yeah. Mark Ingram.
Yeah.
Thanks. Yeah. No, I gotta get keyed in. I gotta be thinking about that. I was looking at these other things from the Hall of Fame.
I have been known. Hanny, just let you know. I should have given you a heads up. Ask Hunt. I've been known to throw some trivia questions in a live broadcast.
I'm usually very good at that kind of thing. I get Danny Werfel and Reggie Bush slips my mind.
That's what I'm saying. I'm actually really impressed that you got Danny Werfel.
Well, if I could have,
for some reason, I thought they took him like in the 6th or 7th round. I had no idea he was a 4th round pick.
Yeah, nobody else would have taken him that high. Ditka was
enamored
high
by the wins in college.
Yeah, I think it's fair to say by that point in his career, Ditka wasn't doing a whole lot of scouting. He was just kind of, that guy's a winner. He'll win here.
Yeah.
Nobody else. They took Troy Davis in that same draft out of Iowa State, who had run for 2,000 yards in 2 consecutive seasons at Iowa State.
Yep.
But was not, ever a guy in the NFL. I'll give you one more. Here's one, since we're taking this, kind of going down this rabbit hole for a second. My second favorite draft after 81 was the 74 draft. 5 Hall of Famers out of the entire draft. The Steelers took 4 of them. That is still the most amazing draft, okay? There were 5 Hall of Famers, and they took Lynn Swann, Jack Lambert, John Stallworth, and Mike Webster all in the same draft.
That's impressive that comes right off the top of your head. I can barely tell you the first 2 picks in the draft that I was drafted in. I know it was Jake Long and Chris Long. After that, I'm like, well, I know Matt Ryan was there at some point. Was he 3? It's like maybe
he was
right?
number 3. That draft's that's been a recurring topic.
Yeah.
Every time the Hall of Fame comes up, the Steelers 74 draft is unparalleled in the history of the draft.
Who was? I'm just kidding.
The only other one that comes close is when the Ravens drafted Jonathan Ogden and Ray Lewis in the same round, and both of those guys made the Hall of Fame. I mean, that was pretty good.
The only trivia that I know from my draft is I was the 69th overall pick. Nice. Who was the 68th pick in the draft? It was an LSU teammate.
2007?
I'm not going to do this to you. I'll just tell you.
I got no idea.
Chevis Jackson.
Okay.
So 68, 69. There's you some trivia. If you're ever hosting for Hunt, if he's out sick on a Wednesday, there's you a little nugget.
Nice. All right, now that we've stumped each other and got my brain going here a little bit, we'll take a break here. We are on YouTube, 104.5 ESPN. Highlights of the previous shows are on the Hangin page. You can catch us on CST 1130, the Tiger and Shreveport, and 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hangin with Hester and Hanny. Our listeners fire off their opinions on the jimsfirearms.net hotline at 499-1045. Keep listening for your next chance to shoot us your thoughts with the jimsfirearms.net hotline on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
If I built a van, it would do more than haul.
It would carry my entire business. I'd make it available in dozens. Make not thousands of configurations.
It would keep an eye on my fleet.
In and eye out for danger. If I built a van, I'd make it available in diesel and gas. And I'd build it right here in South Carolina.
Introducing the all-new Sprinter, starting at $33,790. Built in the USA. Mercedes-Benz. Vans. Born to run.
Le posso offrire un caffè? Le posso offrire un caffè? Andiamo insieme da me, non c'è.
Call Mr. Electric today for electrical repairs, upgrades, and installations.
At All Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All Star Toyota today.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is a local bank with a straightforward philosophy.
It's about doing the right thing for our customers.
Participating in our community with annual local fundraisers, offering individual attention in a modern banking atmosphere with a trusted local company. Gulf Coast Bank invested in technology with a local touch, giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime.
We're building relationships through personal service as the bank that cares about you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
This isn't just another day. It's so much more. Kelly's life was put on hold when her auctioneer primary care doctor discovered a rare blood disorder. Her doctor connected her to an auctioneer care team of cancer, heart, and kidney specialists. With multiple primary care locations around Baton Rouge, same-day appointments, and online scheduling, we're relentless about keeping you healthy. Auctioneer Baton Rouge, innovating healthcare for Kelly.
Visit Bayou Ford for a new 2020 Ford F-150 for only $30,400 with 0% for 72 months. And all new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
Coming up on Monday's OTB, we recap a weekend full of sports. We'll recap one Pelicans scrimmage while previewing another, and the latest from LSU football as they open football school. Plus, we'll hand out our weekend winners off the bench, 7 to 10 a.m., 104.5 ESPN.
Hangin with Hester and Hanny on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and 1130 The Tiger.
We're brought to you by Richards Honda, home of the warm and fuzzy feeling. In hour number 3, David Delucci and Mike Golic Jr. will be with us. Baseball and football. Baseball First day of a full schedule starts at 3 o'clock, right when we finish. Braves coming up with the Mets at 3 o'clock.
Yeah, Brain, if you're listening, the Mets are going down. Chipper Jones' sons are losing today. See, Chipper's their dad because he owned them.
I got that. New York Jets safety Jamal Adams is coming out and making some pretty strong statements against his head coach, Adam Gase. Told the New York Daily News yesterday, said, I don't feel like he's the right leader for this organization to reach the promised land. What really bothers me is that he doesn't have a relationship with everybody in the building. At the end of the day, Gase doesn't address the team. If there's a problem in the locker room, he lets another coach address the team. If we're playing bad, I'm using a different word from him so I don't get fined, and we're losing, he doesn't address the team as a group at halftime. He'll walk out of the locker room and let another coach handle it. Whoa. All right.
Yeah,
I mean, this is scorched earth he's going on Adam Gase here. I mean, this is basically calling your head coach out and saying you ain't doing your job. Adams has wanted out of New York for quite some time now. He is stuck there. He is under contract. They control his contract terms for at least the next 2 years, if not a third, with the franchise tag. They have set a very high price on a trade for him. They don't want to trade him. So he's stuck there, and Gase is the head coach. Jacob, how's this going to work? And you've got a unique perspective on this because Gase coached you not only in Denver, but he was a GA when you were here at LSU.
Yeah, he was just leaving as a GA when I was coming in, but definitely met him in recruiting and different things. He was actually part of Saban's staff, and something that, we connected from day one just because we had, obviously LSU ties when I first got to Denver. It's hard for me to speak on the no speech at halftime and no, leadership as far as getting in front of the team because he was only a coordinator. John Fox was our head coach, so it's a little bit different. But I can tell you that Peyton was basically not our offensive coordinator, but our offensive coordinator.
Yeah.
Like the first day I got there, and I've told this on radio before, but I think it plays here because of what we're talking about. When I first got there, as much as Phillip Rivers in San Diego was, the leader of the offense, Norv was still the guy. I mean, Norv's calling the plays, Norv's running the meetings, Norv's breaking down everything. When I walked in, Peyton had the clicker, and I'm like, wait, looking around, kind of like, wait, what's going on here? What, Peyton Manning running this meeting? And he was. And Adam Gase, that first year was a quarterbacks coach, and there wasn't a whole lot he was saying. The next year, same thing, coordinator, and still Peyton's up there, he's running the meeting, and you just get used to it because it's like, okay, well, it's Peyton Manning. But now, hearing Jamal say this, it makes you wonder, like, how many guys would give up that power? Did Peyton have that power when he was with the Colts as well? Is that something that Gase gave him there? So, that would definitely be something that I'd love to find out because as a head coach, I'm not sure how you can let anybody else get out in front of your team and have the message. It can't be the message. Like, you can't. There can be no other voice besides the head coach that can give the entire team a message because if it's not the head coach, then, it's either an offensive player or a coach or a defensive coach. It's not somebody that has the whole team. And so that would be a little worrisome for me. And, Jamal Adams is no secret. He wants out of New York. He wants to get paid like the other guys in his draft class because he is a top 3 safety. Like, I believe he is the top safety. Him, Tyrann Mathieu, some other guys in that conversation, but I understand him wanting to get paid when other guys in his class getting paid, but it seems like there is some deep-rooted things going on in New York between everyone.
So when they start practice on Tuesday, when he goes in the building and he sees Adam Gase, what's that going to be like?
I've never been in that situation. I've always played for players' coaches. Norv was beloved. John Fox was beloved. Nobody would speak out, but even if they did, I don't know how in the world that would be handled because it typically doesn't happen. And look. Goose, Adam Gase, we call him Goose. Goose is a little bit different. He's a different personality, and I've never seen him as a head coach. I've only seen him as a coordinator. He would get into some battles with some guys. There would be some times when him and some of the star players in Denver would get a little sideways.
When you're head coach, and I think Jamal Adams is the best player on the Jets. I don't think that Sam Darnold is the quarterback, but Jamal Adams is the best player. Right. When you're head coaching your best player, or not, or at odds, not on the same page. I don't know how you rectify that. Yeah. That's a hard one to get past because they don't want to trade him for less than what his value is. Jamal Adams is exactly what you want when you invest a pick that high. You want him to turn into a Pro Bowl player, one of the top players at his position. He's done that in a very short period of time. I'd be tempted to just pay him and get on down the road, but now you got another problem. Now you got him sideways with the head coach. I don't know how you rectify that relationship in time to start the season.
I don't know how you do it either, but knowing Goose like I do and his personality, I can almost see him saying, "Oh, you want out? Oh, you want to criticize us? You're going to play 16 games for the Jets." Like, I can see that happening.
And Adams is stuck. He's not holding out because if he holds out, he gets fined.
He's too competitive to hold out. The money, as far as getting like that, that's not it. Like, Jamal Adams is one of the most competitive people I know.
I'm going to say that $40,000 a day, and you can't waive the fines anymore with the new CBA. $40,000 a day.
Oh, for sure.
Plus, he doesn't accrue time served to get to free agency. So I'm going to guess that both of those play a part.
And when I say like the money, I'm obviously $40,000. Doesn't matter who you are, you're going to feel that. But I'm saying I think he's just too competitive to hold out. And I don't know how it ends. Honestly, I don't know how it ends because you've got a strong personality in Jamal Adams that, like you said, is the best player on your team. And you've got a guy in Adam Gase that is not going to fold to somebody calling them out on social media. So I see this thing being ugly, but I don't see Adams playing for another team this year.
I'll tell you how it ends. It's the same way it always ends, with the Jets losing.
There you go.
Back on the other side, hanging with Hester and Hanny, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hanging with Hester and
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMaster Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. ServiceMaster Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
Divorce is hard. Divorce is messy. Divorce is exhausting. The law offices of O.C. Brown walked me through my divorce and helped me find the right solution for me, my kids, my finances, and my property.
Call the law offices of O.C. Brown, your law firm for a lifetime.
104.5 ESPN invites you to take a short quiz for a chance to win a brand new EU1000 generator from our friends at Bozeman Distributors. Simply go to 1045ESPN.com now through August 16th and take the quiz to see how prepared you are for hurricane season. Everyone who takes the quiz is automatically entered to win the generator. Our winner will be chosen on Monday, August 17th. Get prepared for hurricane season from 104.5 ESPN and stay prepared with Bozeman Distributors.
If I built a van, it would do more than haul.
It would carry my entire business. I'd make it available in dozens. Make that thousands of configurations.
It would keep an eye on my fleet.
In an eye out for danger. If I built a van, I'd make it available in diesel and gas. And I'd build it right here in South Carolina.
Introducing the all-new Sprinter, starting at $33,790. Built in the USA. Mercedes-Benz. Vans. Born to run.
To all of our heroes working on the front lines of this COVID-19 pandemic, your bravery and selflessness represent the very best of us, and we want to say thank you. I'm asking everyone around the state to join me in celebrating the heroism of our healthcare professionals on the 19th of every month at 1900 hours, that's 7 p.m. Write a note of appreciation, make plans to donate to charitable organizations, or say a prayer. To learn more, visit 19thanks.org. Thank you, and God bless.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Prompt, professional, reliable. If you're looking for a breath of fresh air with your AC and heating needs, call the professionals at Anison Bitter. Anison Bitter, a Rheem Pro partner, keeping your family comfortable for over 25 years.
Callahan Injury Lawyers. Now, Hangin with Hester and Hanny with Jacob Hester and Charles Hanagriff. Hester and Hanny on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and 1130 The Tiger. Alongside Jacob Hester, here's Charles Hanagriff.
Hour number 3, Hanging with Hester and Hanny, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge, 1130 The Tiger in Shreveport. If you're watching us on CST, welcome in. And our YouTube page, 104.5 ESPN. You can also check out previous shows, previous highlights at the Hanging page on YouTube. Paul O'Neill, Cade Wazan here with us. Coming up a little bit later on in 15 minutes, David Delucci will be with us. Mike Golic Jr. at the bottom of the hour. They may let Notre Dame play for the ACC title. That's a report that is out there. But in the meantime, Jake, we got into the Jamal Adam Gase thing a little bit. You've got a unique perspective because you know both of these guys. You played for Gase. You know Adams from his time here. And the Bayou Ford Huddle's got a few opinions on.
And this always happens when contracts come up, and I don't know why I let myself get mad, but I do, because our guy Willie points out the union and the owners agreed on how contracts would work. Okay, well, I had a contract twice and I got cut. Didn't matter. That contract didn't mean anything. It wasn't worth the paper it was printed on. I didn't get paid anything.
Football contracts are so much different than basketball and baseball contracts. Baseball contracts are guaranteed. Basketball contracts are guaranteed. Football contracts, the only money that is guaranteed is the upfront money. Now, you can space it out if you want, but for tax purposes or salary cap purposes or whatever. But, you know, that even that deal that Patrick Mahomes signed, that deal is never going to get to the end of that deal. He's never going to play those 10 years under those terms. He'll either be overpaid or underpaid, or they'll have to restructure it for salary cap purposes. That's why I don't hold the football players to the same standards when it comes to contracts as I do the baseball and basketball players, because I know not just the risk of injury, but those contracts, they put out these gaudy numbers. Look at the guaranteed money and look at the number and look at where it's structured. That's all I'm concerned about, because that's what the team's on the hook for and how they account for it against the cap. That's it. So when you say, well, you can't renegotiate, teams renegotiate all the time. They waive you, okay?
They cut you, or they ask you to restructure. Hey, we need more players. We gave you that deal. Restructure your contract. I hate Burger King is hiring. Okay, Jamal Adams is in his draft class. He has earned the right to start talking extension because other players have already gotten that extension. He has outplayed his contract. Just like in any business, if you outperform your contract, you're going to be asking for new terms. I always hate the, Burger King is hiring, maybe you can join him. Come on, that's a lazy argument, because no matter what profession you're in, and if you're doing your job and you're exceeding what the contract called for, well, you're going to ask for new terms. That's in any business. That's in anything.
The team does it the other way. They ask you to take different terms if you underperform your contract. They cut you.
Yeah.
You don't get paid anymore. Now, if you were getting paid in perpetuity, okay, if you've got Bobby Bonilla's contract and you just get paid until you're 72 years old, that's different. But here, these contracts they're nothing more than a way to manipulate your salary cap number. The dollars that you get, the guaranteed dollars, are all that's there. And if the players don't stand up for themselves, then they'll never you get to that second contract and it's like, oh, well, if you play at a position like running back, well, now we don't want to give you a long-term deal because you're past that number or whatever. I don't have a problem with Jamal Adams asking for more money.
Now, he's going about it a different way than I would. There's no question. That's not how I would handle it. That's how he's handling, though. That's how he's trying to gain attention to get out of New York. Again, not how I would do it, but that's how he's doing it. And so I can agree or disagree with the way he's doing it, but as far as the contract and what I think he's worth more than he's making right now. And so
this is two different arguments, really. It's a disagreement between him and the general manager and him and the head coach. Him and the general manager have a difference of opinion on what he should be paid this year, next year, the year after that. That's an organizational decision. That's a financial decision that comes up against their cap, against the control that they have over the contract over the next 2 years and potentially the next 3. To me, the Gase thing has nothing to do with his contract. This is maybe him making a little bit of noise in public because he wants to, make himself such a pain in the ass. I'm trying to come up with something better than that they move him. But this is an outright assault on your head coach.
Yeah.
That, to me, that's better handled inside the locker room. That would have been better for Adams to go in there on Tuesday and say, listen, man, I got a problem with how you're doing things. I'm supposed to be a leader on this team. This is what I want out of you. You tell me what you want out of me. That's a conversation that's better had behind closed doors. The contract is a whole different kettle of fish.
And y'all have heard me say it before. I mean, when I signed with Denver as a 2-year contract and going into that second year after the first cuts, well, I was on the final roster. And so what do you do when you make the final roster? Well, they called you. The running back coach called me. Elway called me. John Fox called me. Congratulations, you made the team, blah, blah, blah. Let's look forward to the year. So I signed a year lease. I put my children in school. I did all those things, right? Things you can't really reverse. Paid the tuition, the fees, and all those things. Well, 3 days later, Von Miller gets suspended. Who gets cut? The fullback, right? Okay. Well, the owner, they didn't care. John couldn't care less. I mean, and I like John. I'm saying any player, couldn't care less, right? Well, for me, I paid a year mortgage in Denver when I didn't live there. I was paying tuition for my children because I signed a contract that actually means something. I paid all the fees, all those different things. And so that is different.
And what did the contract that you had that was in place on the day that they told you made the team, what did you collect off of that contract 4 days later when they cut you?
Oh, nothing.
Nothing.
You know how many days, hours I was away from that becoming guaranteed because I was a vested veteran. So if you're on the roster week 1.
Wait, hang on. Let me see. I might be able to do this. 72? 6. I was going to say 3 days.
The next morning, if I would have been on the roster when we met for team meetings that day, I would have been on the team, week 1, vested veteran, so I get my year's salary. They called me at midnight.
You think they knew?
Yeah.
They're very aware of all of those deadlines.
I was asleep and didn't get on the phone with them until about 2 a.m.
If you send them a voicemail for 6 hours, do you still get cut?
Yeah, because they turned the paperwork in. So if this seems like a hot button subject for me, it is. I mean, it is a very hot button. Look, you have to know your worth. You have to know that you only have so many opportunities in life to gain off of your worth. And so, look, I understand people are mad. You can go work at AT&T. You can work at Burger King. That's just a lazy argument to me because I know what it takes day in and day out to be able to be a professional football player, and you work so hard, and then the contract situation, it happens like me. It happens like Jamal where, Jamal's going to be okay, but he feels like he has outplayed that contract. And there's guys in his position, Myles Garrett, Christian McCaffrey, Patrick Mahomes, same draft class that have already gotten that money. He is not. Again, he's doing it a way I would not do. I would not call out my head coach, but that's what he is doing right now because I'm sure he thinks that is going to get him to another franchise.
If the contracts were enforceable both ways, then fine. This is the way the game is played. This is the way that the union set up They knew certain amount of guarantees would be in place. The rest of it, you were going to be able to hold out. You were going to be able to they negotiated what the franchise tag was going to be. They negotiated what the transitional tag was going to be. All of these safeguards that were put in for the players, but the contracts simply are a measure of how you're going to put that money against the salary cap. And the guaranteed money is exactly what it is, and there's not a lot of guaranteed money. What are we saying that it's somewhere around, I want to say 40% of the league is on a league minimum contract. It may even be higher than that. Yeah. And what money of that is guaranteed? You show up and play, you get a game check. Yeah. That's what's guaranteed. Other than that, it's not. This is not like signing a contract to buy a house. It really isn't.
Kind of another example, and you reminded me of it a couple segments ago when you were talking about undrafted free agents making the Saints. Well, we had a situation, undrafted free agent Mike Tolbert made the Chargers, and Mike was a guy who was a star. I mean, he was a star player. I mean, we counted on Mike Tolbert, and his signing bonus was,
$3 grand?
Yeah, a couple $1,000. Maybe it might have been less than that. It might have been like $1,800. Well, he played off that for a couple of seasons until he became a restricted free agent, and they kind of restructured and did some other things. And so he was playing for a minimum without a signing bonus.
You know what I always wondered about those guys? This may be a stupid thing to wonder about, but I'll ask you. Okay, I don't know where Tolbert was when I'm assuming he had an agent, agreed to terms with the Chargers. But let's just say it wasn't in San Diego. Let's say he had to fly there from, I don't know, Atlanta, okay? Do they pay for your flight? Because if they give you an $1,800, I'm serious. Okay, you've taken last-second flights before, I'm sure. Yeah. Okay, you walk into the airport and say, "I need to get on a plane today." The airline says, "Bend over," because they got you. Okay, and so this price is ridiculous. So if you sign a guy like Tolbert for $1,800 signing bonus, man, you suck that up at the airport. You got to. I have to be there tomorrow at this time. Well, the last-second fare on that flight is $1,900. I mean, do they pay for the flight?
They do pay for your flight, and they pay if you make the team. I believe they pay for your Holiday Inn stay in San Diego for 10 days, and then on the 11th day, you've got to start paying for it. I believe that's how it works.
These stories they're fascinating with the baseball players too. The guys that get called up and sent down. It's like, okay, you're going to be here for 8 days. Where do you live? And you could get sent down any day. You get called back up any day. Well, where are your clothes? Okay, you got to go from Richmond to Atlanta and back again 4 or 5 times. These guys that are in that. Mikey Matuk, we got asked about him earlier. Yeah. He told some stories. I think he was on with Matt one day about having to go back and forth because he's had to bounce a little bit.
I can tell you're an old Braves fan when you say Richmond.
That's right. It's out in Gwinnett County now. Yeah. But, that's right.
I appreciate that.
They were the Richmond Braves forever. A long, long time. Take a break. When we come back, David Delucci. Maybe Dellucci can tell us a story or two about when he got called up and, some of those things that they go through. And then Mike Golic Jr. at the bottom of the hour. This is Hanging with Hester and Hanny, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hanging with Hester and Hanny.
All right, brought to you every single day by our title sponsor, Richard Honda. Of course, you can find them online at richardhonda.com where you can do it all. You can check for those specials right there in the bottom left corner of the website. You've got 7 days left to save on their current offers over at Richard Honda. Of course, you can schedule that service right there in their brand new state-of-the-art service center. You pull up, they're waiting on you. You can order parts and accessories from the website. I tell you, every day you can have a chat with sales right there in the bottom right corner of the website. It's going to pull up that chat box, any question you might have. But I would encourage you, once you get out the office, once you get out the house, go see them at 13413 Millaville Greens Boulevard in Baton Rouge. That's I-12 and Millaville, because they have got something waiting on you that you're going to love after you drive off the lot. If you're looking for a car, they've got the Accord, the Civic, and the Fit. They've got a full fleet of hybrids with the Accord hybrid, the Clarity plug-in hybrid, and the Insight, and the CRV hybrid they just added. Midsize SUVs with the CRV, HRV, and the Passport, the Odyssey minivan, the full-size Pilot, the Ridgeline truck. As you can tell, something for everybody over at Richard Honda, home of the warm and fuzzy feeling.
In times of need, get a full list of phone numbers, websites, and other important emergency information on the Demco Stormwatch page at 1045ESPN.com.
Our big New Year sale is going on now at Corval Toyota in Opelousas, and you can get $3,200 off MSRP on a 20 Tacoma TRD or lease a 2020 Tacoma Special Edition for $209 a month. Come on down to Happy Town. That's Corval Toyota in Opelousas, Happy Town, USA.
Citizens Bank is proud to bring you the Fan of the Week. But during these times with no fans, Citizens Bank is switching its support to the Banking on BR campaign to raise money for the Baton Rouge Food Bank. You can help out by visiting brfoodbank.org or bankingonbr.com.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
Here at the Big Squeezy, we continue to serve the Baton Rouge and Southeast Louisiana areas during these troubling times. We are dedicated to providing you healthy food items to help you live your best life. From our cold-pressed juices to our delicious smoothies, let the Big Squeezy keep you going. Stay active, stay happy, and let us help you stay healthy. Visit us at our locations and also inside of Alexander's and Mathern's grocery stores or online at thebigsqueezy.com.
I'm Jay Ducote. I grew up learning how to cook at LSU tailgate parties and right in my own backyard. And I created JD's Louisiana products to bring that Louisiana flavor to you at home for your backyard cookout. JD's Louisiana barbecue sauce, Louisiana molasses mustard, spicy and sweet barbecue rub, and more are available at your local supermarkets or by logging on to jducote.com/shop. Put in promo code CST for 25% off at checkout.
1045 ESPN invites you to take a short quiz for a chance to win a brand new EU1000 generator from our friends at Bozeman Distributors. Simply go to 1045ESPN.com now through August 16th and take the quiz to see how prepared you are for hurricane season. Everyone who takes the quiz is automatically entered to win the generator. Our winner will be chosen on Monday, August 17th. Get prepared for hurricane season from 1045 ESPN and stay prepared with Bozeman Distributors.
Hi, this is Chance Inman, President and Chief Operating Officer for Janikin Gulf Coast. Here are some ways to protect yourself and those around you from the coronavirus. Wash your hands often and thoroughly. Cover coughs and sneezes with your elbow. Disinfect high-touch surfaces regularly. Use non-contact methods for greeting others. And avoid touching your face. Following these steps, as well as social distancing, should help all of us stay.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona inviting you to join us for Friday's AFR, presented by Don Juan Cigar Bar. The Riot Radio Hours return. We'll recap an opening night of baseball, and the football Tigers are on the field. Join us, 1045 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hangin with Hester and Hanny on 1045 ESPN Baton Rouge and 1130 The Tiger.
We're brought to you by Richards Honda, home of the warm and fuzzy feel in baseball. Full schedule today, starting here in about 45 minutes with the Braves and Mets. Joining us now is former Major Leaguer David Delucci. David, good afternoon. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you guys for having me on.
You know, David, we were just having a conversation about the logistics of football players that get signed and then have to make it across the country or wherever they're going into, and how much baseball players have to deal with that. Early in your career, there were multiple seasons where you played in both the minors and in the majors. I'm just wondering if you got one of those stories where you had to be somewhere and, take one of these, 12-hour rides or last-second flights, and what do you do with your stuff, and how do you get your gear there, and all of those things that a baseball player has to go through when you're trying to make that transition.
Yeah, so I'll tell you, there was one that sticks out. I initially got called up to the major leagues by the Orioles. I was in Double-A Bowie, went from Double-A to the big league. That was a 20-minute ride. That was a piece of cake. So the story that pops immediately in my head was when I was traded from the Arizona Diamondbacks to the Yankees. So it's a little bit different. It's not minor leagues to major league, but I'll kind of tell you what a major leaguer goes through. I was single at the time. If I'd have had a family, it would have been extremely difficult. But we were playing a road game against Miami Marlins. I was out having dinner with a couple of ball players on our team and the other team. 10:30 at night, I get a phone call from my general manager. tells me, congratulations, you've been traded to the New York Yankees. Got a 9 o'clock a.m. flight for you heading to Anaheim, and the next GM, Brian Cashman, would be calling you to get everything else squared away. So I had to go from Miami with a suitcase that I was packed for a road trip for the East Coast to fly West Coast. First thing the next morning, I joined the team. I played one game in Anaheim. We went to Oakland from there. They had an off day in New York. The team flew back. I flew from Oakland to Arizona. I packed up everything I owned. I shipped 99% of it, and anything I can carry in 2 suitcases I took with me to New York. Thank goodness I didn't have a family and children that were in school that would have had to pack up on their own, move everything either back home or to the East Coast. And I know I have plenty of stories of guys that have done that, and some have done that multiple times in a season. So even though you may start on the team, everybody says the kiss of death is if you buy a house or apartment in the city you're playing with, you're going to get traded or moved before too long. Just because you start with that team doesn't mean you're not going to make that transition part of the way through the year.
David, when you say you shipped 99% of your stuff from Arizona to New York, I'm wondering, where'd you ship it to? You didn't have a place to live in New York yet. Where'd you send your stuff?
Yeah, no, I shipped it home. I shipped it to Baton Rouge.
Oh.
So I lived off of whatever I could in 2 suitcases. They saw me in the same clothes an awful lot when I was with New York. And you keep with the team. You got to find out what the team travels in. If the team travels in a suit, coat and tie, windsuit, whatever it is, you pack that for sure. You pack some clothes that you think you're going to need. Now, look, I was living in Arizona. It's 125 degrees. I go to New York, and you got to prepare for, at that point, we went to the postseason. You got to prepare for freezing cold weather. So it's a different climate, and you just grab whatever you can, and you basically live out of a suitcase for the rest of the year.
I'm always curious, David, how that works in baseball, right? You're with a team, and all of a sudden I'm a Yankee. Because I know for me, and I was older in my career, I'd already played 5 seasons, but when I got to Denver, I felt like a rookie. I didn't really know anybody. I knew of some guys because I played in that division, but I had the nerves of a rookie. I mean, even meeting like the equipment manager, I was like, stuttering and saying, yes, sir. Because I had been somewhere for so long, and then all of a sudden all this new. But in baseball, I mean, you can get traded and you can start like the same night, right? You can be in right field and you can have 3 at-bats. In football, they give you like 3, 4, 5 weeks to learn the playbook if you sign with a team in the middle of the season.
That's it. I mean, I started against Anaheim in the right field that night, and this is a team that I had played against 2 years earlier, won the World Series against, and so now I'm joining them from the Diamondbacks to the Yankees. Talk about a weird feeling, and I walk in the locker room with Roger Clemens and Andy Pettitte, Mike Mussina, Derek Jeter. These are Hall of Fame guys that I have never, other than saying, hey, what's up, how's it going, good game, good hit, I've never had a conversation with because it's a different league. I go in there, I get a uniform that doesn't even fit properly because we're on the road. They issue me a number. I got a helmet that's dangling because you don't get the right sizes till you go back to your home clubhouse. It's an awkward feeling, man, and you're trying to make friends and you're trying to prove to them that you can play and win for them at the same time. It's not a comfortable feeling.
All right, we'll talk baseball here in a second as far as what happened last night, what's taking place today, but now I'm invested in all of these stories. Dellucci, I've got to know, what do y'all talk about on first base? Because I always see the first baseman cover his mouth up, y'all grinning, something funny's being said. So when you said, you'd only said what's up to him, does the first baseman on a team have the best conversations?
He does. And I hate to say this on the radio, but I'll be honest with you. When I was at Arizona, I was a single young man, and I knew all the hot spots. So when I got to first base, the first baseman couldn't wait. They were pulling for me to get to first base because they'd say, hey, man, it's Tuesday night. What's a good place to go to tonight? And I'd tell them, you got to go here, you got to go there. Ask for this guy, go get this bartender. That was most of the conversations that we had. A lot of it's about family, how's your family doing, how you feel, blah, 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 blah. But in today's day, a lot of the players with free agency and trades, they played together, so they know each other really well. They go out to dinner together, they hang out together, and many times they want to know what the hot spot of the night is as well.
All right, David, now that we've seen a couple of games with the empty stadiums, with the major leaguers playing in real games now, What do you think? What did you see last night? How much of a transition, how much of an adjustment is it for these guys to play under these protocols and circumstances?
It's weird. It's really, really weird. And I think they'll get used to it, but it'll never be the same. As an athlete, it doesn't matter if it's football, basketball, baseball, any sport, you feed off the crowd. Opening day, you feed off the energy, you feed off the excitement. There was none of that there. It's just a totally different feeling, a totally different ball game. The only thing is, now as weird as it may be, in the shortened season of 60 games, you have got to have the full throttle down from game one. And I think that's going to make up for the lack in atmosphere, is the urgency that a team has got to get out early and stay on top. So weird stuff, man. And I saw them breaking rules. You're not supposed to high five or give knuckles after a home run. You're not going to keep those guys from doing that. And by the way, they're the fittest people on the planet. They're young. I think they feel like, they're okay. They're in a bubble. I think guys will get more comfortable. You'll see guys conversing a little more, high-fiving, hugging, all that kind of good stuff. It'll get us back to a sense of normalcy.
David, I asked this question earlier when you mentioned the sense of urgency. Did a little bit of that get taken away yesterday when they announced this new playoff format, literally hours before first pitch? Better than half the teams in Major League Baseball are going to make the playoffs. Did the sense of urgency take a hit yesterday?
It was weird, wasn't it? But I think they made the decision because they feel it's best for baseball. I think you're going to see some teams that normally would have been out of it have a shot to make the World Series. So did it take sense of urgency out? Maybe not. What I think it did was it included more teams than a normal year. So you may have a Mariners or you may have a team come out of nowhere, a Padres team at the end, that on a normal season they would write themselves off and start looking ahead at the future. This year will be different. They still have a chance to win. I don't know if anybody's going to go, well, they're going to be the team, and I think they're still going to put the throttle and play hard. Look, 60 games, you don't have the opportunity to have a slump for an extended period of time. These guys are some of these guys are contract guys. They're going to try to hit home runs just like they would in 162 games. So you'll still see them playing hard. You'll still see them trying to put up big numbers.
Catching up with former big leaguer, now part of the SEC network, David Delucci here on Hanging with Hester and Hanny. Delucci, something that we talked about, we had Kevin Franson on earlier on in the show. We talked about Johnny Cueto kind of getting yanked after 4 innings, and you could see Gabe Kapler really starting to look for his bullpen after the first sign of trouble. Now, do you think that's more because Cueto's kind of been on the IL the last couple of years, he's been injured, or do you think that's what we're going to see? The first sign of trouble with these starters because of the 60-game season, because the sense of urgency is there, that we're going to see guys go to the bullpen in a lot of spots where we normally wouldn't see them go?
It will be different for every manager, and it will be different for every pitcher. You have to have a track record that the manager is comfortable with. Remember, Gabe Kapler is the new manager over there, and it's early on in the season. We always see starting pitchers under a pitch count or with the watchful eye of the pitching coach and the manager says, if I see something that's not right and the average fan may not see it, they're going to go to the bullpen quicker than normal. So it's early. I think maybe in about a week it may change. It may loosen the reins up a little bit, but we don't know what's going on in Johnny Cueto's warm-up period leading up to the season. But the interesting part is going to be the reliever rule where he has to pitch 3 outs. That's what you need to keep your eye on, how managers will be able to shuffle their bullpen around, knowing that you just can't have a situational lefty or a situational righty come in for one batter. That's going to make things interesting.
David, as always, we appreciate the time. Thanks so much for joining us today. We'll keep up with you here as we get through this 60-game sprint.
Sounds great. Thank you guys for having me.
David Delucci, it's a great story, man. The things that you don't know that professional athletes have to deal with, that the logistics. I mean, that story.
You had a great follow-up. Where'd you ship your stuff? I wanted to follow up, and I forgot. What was the 1% you left behind?
Probably. I think everybody's got that 1% of the stuff that you don't really need at your house that ends up in your house. Anyway, I know I found way more than 1%. when we were in the shutdown, and it's like, okay, if you're ever going to clean the closets out, now's the time to do it.
Maybe it was his Diamondbacks gear. He's like, I don't need it anymore. I'll just leave it here.
Yeah, because if you're playing for the Yankees and you're wearing Diamondbacks gear, somebody's going to have a problem with that.
Yeah, you got to retire that stuff until you retire, and then you can break out all your teams that you play
What percentage of stuff in your house do you really not need?
A lot.
I mean, before the shutdown, it was double digits for sure. It was
I'm a
way
little
more
bit
than
of a hoarder.
10%.
I'm a big T-shirt. Like if I played for a team, or if I got a T-shirt, from something like the Senior Bowl, I'm bad about keeping all that stuff.
It's a lot better right now. Okay, probably as stream with the shutdown and all of the cleaning that we did, probably as streamlined as it's ever been over at my house. Today's show is brought to you in part by Supreme Rice, a perfect complement for every meal. All rice is not created equal. Supreme Rice is grown, milled, and processed right here in South Louisiana. So support your Louisiana farmers, whether it's the long grain or the brown rice. The jasmine is a particular favorite of ours. It's great with so many different meals, an etouffee, beans and rice, or a gumbo when it gets a little bit colder. You'll use Supreme Rice. And it's also great to stretch your food dollar right now. Here in Phase 2, we're all watching our nickels, so get you some Supreme Rice, get a great meal, and stretch that food dollar. You can get Supreme Rice at all of your Costco's, all of your Rouse's, all of your Walmarts, and all of your AG food dealers. Supreme Rice. For great recipes and more information, go to supremerice.com. Take a break. Mike Golic Jr. when we come back on Hangin' with Hester and Hanny, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hangin' with Hester and Hanny.
All right, also brought to you by Hungry Howie's. Check them out online at hungryhowies.com. One of the cool things at hungryhowies.com, you can sign up for the Howie Rewards. Well, every 10 points for every qualifying order of $10 or more that you spend over at Hungry Howie's, you get to 60 points. You're going to get a free medium 2-topping pizza. I'm actually one away, Hanny, so let me go ahead and order a Hungry Howie's so I can get that free medium pizza. But that's not the only thing you can do over at hungryhowies.com. Just go to the top right corner after you sign up, after you get your Howie Rewards for the deals they've got over at Hungry Howie's, right? You got a $7.99 large 2-topping pizza. You've also got a $5.99 deal, a small 2-topping pizza. And I always give you, if it's just you're just by yourself, you want to grab a quick lunch, you've got that $5 lunch special, junior 1-topping pizza, and a 20-ounce drink. But if you're like me, you need a bigger deal for the family. You got a $15.99 deal, 2 medium 1-topping pizzas, plus that Howie bread. You're going to find a deal you love over at Hungry Howie's. Check them out online at hungryhowies.com.
We opened up the playbook and expanded our coverage. Listen daily in high definition on 98.1 HD2. We are 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
If I built a van, it would do more than haul.
It would carry my entire business. I'd make it available in dozens. Make not thousands of configurations.
It would keep an eye on my fleet.
In an eye out for danger. If I built a van, I'd make it available in diesel and gas. And I'd build it right here in South Carolina.
Introducing the all-new Sprinter, starting at $33,790. Built in the USA. Mercedes-Benz. Vans. Born to run.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
This is a house call. This is a test result. This is a prescription refill. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare. Start your virtual visit today at Auctioner Health.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is a local bank with a straightforward philosophy.
It's about doing the right thing for our customers.
Participating in our community with annual local fundraisers. Offering individual attention in a modern banking atmosphere with a trusted local company. Gulf Coast Bank invested in technology with a local touch, giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime.
We're building relationships through personal service as a bank that cares about you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean.
It's a Friday edition of Jimmy Ott's Game Time, live from Magnolia Bluffs Casino and Hotel in Natchez, Mississippi. Jimmy reacts to opening day in Major League Baseball and gets you ready for the weekend. Tune in from 6 to 8 p.m. on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hangin with Hester and Hanny on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and 1130 The Tiger.
All of it is really about, buying us a little bit more time to get a sense for what the landscape looks like out there in our country. We're going to play football. And I say that with the confidence based upon how well and how determined and disciplined our players are. They want to play.
As Brian Kelly, head coach at Notre Dame, from yesterday's Golic and Wingo. This is Hanging with Hester and Hanny, brought to you by Richards Honda, home of the warm, fuzzy feeling. In a preseason of a lot of uncertainty where scheduling is concerned, maybe no team has as much uncertainty as Notre Dame. Mike Golic Jr. now joins us. We'll get his perspective on this. Mike, Notre Dame, according to reports, may be eligible to play in the ACC championship game, may even represent the ACC in the Orange Bowl. What do you make right now of Notre Dame's options where scheduling is concerned?
Yeah, I mean, this is clearly the best one in this situation, and I think what you're seeing is the groundwork that was laid when Notre Dame's ties with the ACC first began, when all the rest of the Notre Dame sports switched over to ACC conference play, and when Notre Dame started to make this commitment it already had to, 5 or 6 ACC games a year, whatever the specifics are of that given season. It was this idea that, all right, you had a relationship that was mutually beneficial for both sides on this, meaning the other Notre Dame sports got a great home in the ACC and what that conference has meant for sports like men's and women's basketball for us, lacrosse, up and down the roster, but then also for football. In a situation like this, and in a world where we know college sports and where it's trending, the idea of super conferences and all these things that we all kind of talk about when we're having a good time. And so I think to have a tie-in like that is certainly a good one. And we're seeing here now on the ACC side, even with football, without Notre Dame being an official member, they've gotten plenty of benefit. That Notre Dame brand around the ACC has been strong. It's part of the reason they were able to secure something like the ACC network that's been operating now for the last year. It's because that brand will always have value in college football and in college athletics, and the ACC has seen that, and so I think it's a partnership in the truest sense of the word.
Mike, one of the things that we've been talking about all week, because obviously the SEC, the ACC, and the Big 12 have yet to make a decision, is you already have 7 games in place between the SEC and the ACC, and 8 if you include Notre Dame and Arkansas. So with so many games already in place on the schedule, since you have not come out with the decision to play conference-only games, again, it's kind of been our question of the week. Can you see any way that those conferences come together and create a 10-game schedule?
Absolutely, and I think that +1 model is starting to gain a lot of traction where you'd have, the 10 conference games with room for those +1s that especially geographically, and I know the conference-only model that the Big Ten and the Pac-12 went to isn't based on geography. You look at the Big Ten, and the footprint is so massive that travel is still going to be something that took you into potentially problematic regions and made you get on planes and all these things. But with the ACC and the SEC specifically, and even some parts of the Big 12, you have rivalries that geographically just make sense in addition to being games that all these schools care about. So, yeah, I think we're seeing playing out what I was hoping would play out with the entire Power Five, which is these big-time movers and shakers in college football with a mutual vested interest in one another that allows them to use all of the resources, because the SEC, ACC, and Big 12 together, that's a lot of weight, a lot of resources, and a lot of manpower and brain power you can throw into these ideas and plans that will give us the best shot at whatever college football is going to look like this fall. And I think eventually when the Power Five realizes that and unifies, forget the college football czar idea. I think it's just this shared financial tie that binds all these conferences that's going to make better decision makers for the entire sport.
Mike Golic Jr. is our guest. Mike, next week we expect to hear something from those three Power Five conferences. What, in your opinion, is the most likely scenario right now? A delay to the beginning of the season, a pushback of the end of the season to give them more room, or both?
You know what? I think anything is possible at this point, but I think what they're leaning towards is that idea of a delayed start to the season. And what I was starting to think about today, and I base this off no reporting or anything I've heard from anybody, is if you delay the start of your season, you're, again, like we heard from Brian Kelly in that soundbite, buying yourself time to make sure you get what I've always called with college football is your one best shot at this. And the more and more I think about it is, all right, while there are complications to a spring season, most people's biggest fear of it is that it's really putting your back against the wall, and if nothing's changed, you put yourself in that hole, and now you really only have that one shot before things go belly up and all this. If you're college football and you know all the pressures that are going to try and make you go this fall, you push it back, you start late, and then if things do start to go poorly and you just are dealing with a situation that's so untenable, who's to say if you shut it down there, you can't recoup some semblance of a season in the spring if push comes to shove? I think these are the kind of things and the kind of conversations that are happening now because that spring schedule is being acknowledged a lot more than I ever would have anticipated. But I think the delayed start right now is the most likely option just because they're worried about backing themselves too far into a corner.
Mike, are you surprised there's not a more uniformity to the spring football season? I guess I'm talking more about the FCS. And now I know we haven't heard from the group of five, but they're waiting on the other three Power Fives, we all assume. But even in the FCS, you've had some conferences come out and say that they're going to the spring. I know the Southland Conference, which we pay attention to here with multiple schools in our state, you've had some teams say they plan on playing in the fall. I'm surprised that there hasn't been a uniform answer for the FCS when you've kind of got conferences saying, yeah, we're going to move it back, or some saying, no, we're going to try to play in the fall. What's the schedule going to look like next year with teams doing two different seasons?
Yeah, that's the difficult part about all this, and that's the reason we need more of a vested interest in these conference leaders, because you're right. There isn't a lot of uniformity to all this. That's always been sort of the beautiful, crazy, awful at times part of college athletics is there is no tie that binds everybody, and it's hard in less than ideal circumstances. Everyone just defaults to, well, let's take care of our conference. Let's take care of our school and all of that and do the best they can, but it creates this jigsaw puzzle we'll never be able to really fully put together. And so I think the spring season is going to be difficult just because if you're a lot of those institutions, especially at the FCS level where football might not be dominating the budget and the ecosystem of your athletic department the way it does at the Power 5 level, you've got to do a lot more managing of the other sports that are on campus. You're dealing with far less in the way of facilities and space and resources in a lot of places. And so I think that's why you're not going to see a clear answer probably for a while on that spring season, because now you've got the benefit of time. You're going to use it to make it sure you've got it nailed down to a T by the time you let anyone know.
Mike, you were an offensive lineman. We saw Mac Brown walking around practice with a 6-foot stick. Make sure everybody stayed 6 feet apart. How do you practice football if you're an offensive lineman and you got to stay 6 feet away from everybody?
Man, it sounds like the air raid right now, which is always my nightmare as an offensive lineman. Back up 5 yards and be 3 or 4 yards away from the next guy closest to you. I think on the field, it's going to be pretty difficult to do that, but I am leery of giving anyone that coaches offensive or defensive line a stick. Like, why am I going to give this guy that's already that ornery a weapon in all of this? No, that's the last thing on earth that I need. So social distance coaching is already going to be its own talking to Brian Kelly, the idea of, the face coverings, the mask and those things, and trying to effectively communicate out on the field. They were talking about, supplementing it with the coaches being mic'd up, having, a horn or speakers out there to try and make sure that the coaches can effectively communicate to players and all of this. But at some point when it comes to football, the guys on the field, it's going to end up looking pretty normal. The practice is going to be interesting, how they go about minimizing risk and organizing practice in such a way that you can get guys meaningful reps. You can create as many game-like situations and reps as possible without actually having to do all that and expose everyone on your team in any given day. That level of planning and what you're able to do manufacturing situations, it's always been the game as a coach. It's just got a few added obstacles now.
Catching up with my guy, Mike Golic Jr. here on Hanging with Hester and Hanny. Mike, something else is the skeleton crews that you're probably going to have on the sidelines between training staff and equipment managers, but also probably the TV broadcast. Do you have any clue what that's going to look like? Are you going to try, they think, to maybe go to the location? I know some are calling games from their home stadium, even if they're on the road and not actually at the location, but just really looking at a TV and going off the HD screen there.
Yeah, and I think it's a little bit of everything that's on the table right now. You'd wonder if geography might play a role in it. We've got analysts spread out all over the place. Who's to say that maybe you're covering more geographically based on where you live this year than the conference that you'd normally be affiliated with? But I think the safest bet for everyone, if I'm looking at this, and I know nothing of this. I know we have a lot of different options on the table, but I am not privy. Those are decisions outside of my pay class. But it would make sense. I've called games off a monitor before. We just saw with Major League Baseball coming back right now. We had our crew in studio calling Major League Baseball's opening day off a monitor and a lot of that. And it is possible. And the game day experience is already going to be so different this year that losing out on that in-arena atmosphere, that in-stadium atmosphere wherever you are, is going to be tough. But I think comparatively, it's a lot less vital to the process this year just because that energy you normally feed off, it's not going to be there. We're all manufacturing it on our own now. And so the preparation is probably the harder part, not having the same access to coaches and players that you might be used to over the course of a week. It's going to take some adjustment.
Mike Golic Jr., we appreciate your time. Have a great weekend, and we'll see what next week brings for us. Thanks a lot.
Thanks, fellas. Hoping for some good news. Have a good weekend.
Appreciate it, Mike. You too.
When we come back, Ask Us is brought to you today by Relief Telemed. Get into the Bayou Ford Huddle or onto our YouTube page, Hanging with Hester and Hanny, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hanging with Hester and Hanny.
Gotros Outdoor Power, helping you with all of your property maintenance needs, and the folks over at Skag with the zero turns and the Liberty residential mowers right now. 60 months interest-free financing is available, and the 5-year Performance Plus warranties are also available for all of these units. So not only are you going to get free delivery, not only are you going to get the best mower on the market, and you're also going to get a 5-year worry-free warranty from the folks over at Skag. But it's not just mowers, it's blowers, it's trimmers, it's edgers, it's generators as we get a little bit deeper into hurricane season. All of your home property needs are met at Gotros Outdoor Power. 2 locations.
One at Airline and Industriaplex there in Baton Rouge, Airline and 74 in Gonzales. Of course, they've always got their website, GotrosOutdoorPower.com. You can do it all. You can check for new equipment, sales and promotions, parts, financing, the whole deal there. That's Gotros. We make it easy.
Off the Bench, Hanging with Hester and Hanny. After further review and more are all live daily on the 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge YouTube page. Subscribe now to interact with us inside the live chat. Find highlights for each show's channel and get notified whenever we go live.
If I built a van, it would do more than haul.
It would carry my entire business. I'd make it available in dozens, make not thousands of configurations.
It would keep an eye on my fleet.
In an eye out for danger. If I built a van, I'd make it available in diesel and gas. And I'd build it right here in South Carolina.
Introducing the all-new Sprinter, starting at $33,790. Built in the USA. Mercedes-Benz. Vans. Born to run.
This isn't just another day. It's so much more. Kelly's life was put on hold when her auctioneer primary care doctor discovered a rare blood disorder. Her doctor connected her to an auctioneer care team of cancer, heart, and kidney specialists. With multiple primary care locations around Baton Rouge, same-day appointments, and online scheduling, we're relentless about keeping you healthy. Auctioneer Baton Rouge, innovating healthcare for Kelly.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is a local bank with a straightforward philosophy.
It's about doing the right thing for our customers.
Participating in our community with annual local fundraisers, offering individual attention in a modern banking atmosphere with a trusted local company. Gulf Coast Bank invested in technology with a local touch, giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime.
We're building relationships through personal service as the bank that cares about you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
Coming up on Monday's OTB, we recap a weekend full of sports. We'll recap one Pelicans scrimmage while previewing another, and the latest from LSU football as they open football school. Plus, we'll hand out our weekend winners off the bench, 7 to 10 a.m., 104.5 ESPN.
Hangin' with Hester and Hanny on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and 1130 The Tiger.
Time for Ask Us, and it's brought to you by Relief Telemed. Relief is for businesses that have frequent interactions with the public, restaurants, retail stores, service-based businesses, businesses that cannot afford to shut down or send home employees. Relief's COVID mitigation platform takes the hassle, chaos, and stress out of having your employees tested for COVID. The process starts with a video visit with a physician and ends with a custom action plan for every employee. Through a dashboard, you know exactly when your employees can come back to work, and they offer on-site and off-site testing options.
They offer on-site and on-site, like you mentioned. They also have the option to get COVID results in as little as 24 hours. Relief is the market leader for rapid response COVID testing. Be on site within 24 hours and have your business operational in 48. Multiple ways to get in touch with them. ReliefTelemed.com/stopthespread. Direct line there, 225-244-6093. Told you last time they helped us out at our walk-ons up in the Port City, had us up and running. We did not miss any time, which is very important right now, Hanny.
All right, Ask Us, Superior on Highland or Government. I've done more, I've been to both many times, but done more shows on Highland, a little bit closer.
The Highland is right by the house, and let me just tell you, if they had a breakdown like on your bank statement of how much money you spent at one place, that would be like the large piece of the pie.
Jimmy Ott's got you beat. Speaking of Jimmy Ott, the next Ask Us is you got tag team wrestling, mixed martial arts. Tag team, T-Bob and Jordy against Moscona and Jimmy. Who wins?
Oh, T-Bob, I mean, he's the largest of the crew.
Get the Thunder and Lightning little group up in the morning, right? Yeah.
I'm thinking for sure, yeah.
Ask Jake, are Little League tryouts today?
Is that because I got my full uniform on? Because if it is, just tell me where to go sign up, and I'll do it. It's opening day, baby. I would have worn my Greg Maddox stirrups if I would have had them. I didn't wear them today, though.
We are less than 15 minutes away from Atlanta Braves baseball. Ask us, favorite teenage sitcom?
Saved by the Bell. Was that, teenage? It feels like it's teenage. Dawson's Creek's in there.
Not for me. By the time Saved by the Bell came along, I was
in college.
Yeah. For me, it was Cheers. And Cheers started when I was a teenager, but lasted through the end of college. It was on for so long.
Yeah, Saved by the Bell and Dawson's Creek. That's final answer.
Ask us, who's doing Lock of the Week? Jimmy is going to do Lock of the Week. We're working on finalizing that schedule, but he is going to do Lock of the Week. Ask us, chances the toss dive returns to the LSU offense this year.
Never. It's in the graveyard.
That one's just for you.
In the graveyard.
Ask us, baseball and NBA on at the same time. What do you watch?
Baseball.
That depends for me.
It's a great point.
It depends on what
Pelicans
teams are
mean
playing.
Something right now.
Yeah, the Pelicans, I'm definitely going to watch that first. And it's going to be a lot of baseball besides that. But if it's like Clippers, Lakers, and when we get to the playoffs, it's going to be more NBA. If they're just the first week when it's this 8-game whatever, I got a feeling a lot of the teams that are already locked into the playoffs are going to just be kind of going through the motions a little bit. So I'll watch baseball instead of that. But once the playoffs start,
trust me, we'll be watching both.
Ask us, is it now grand, Hanny? Yeah, I did become a grandfather right before midnight last night. Porter joined us, full head of hair. He's got more hair than Moscona or Jimmy Ott.
There you go. It's a win already.
And he's 12 hours old. Let's see. Ask us, most you've ever benched.
425 probably at LSU. Because once I got to the NFL, it was all dumbbells. It wasn't bars. So like 425 probably.
Let's see.
Watch your bench.
Ask us, did you chuckle when Golic Jr. talked about the ACC having that Notre Dame brand?
Man, the Notre Dame hate in the huddle was strong.
Well, the Notre Dame hate's been here for a long time, and I was.
And I'm part of it. I mean,
I was a leader up for a long time. But what he's saying is not wrong. Anytime Notre Dame asks for anything, the ACC gives it to them.
Yes.
And if it aggravates you, I get it. At times, it's aggravated me too, but it's very much real. Ask us, have you ever said anything on the field that you regret now?
Nope. That's all in the heat of the moment, and I probably don't remember half I said, but no.
Yeah. Ask us, is it okay to think about veterans when you listen to the anthem? Yes. Ask us, most ever crawfish that you ate in one sitting?
Ooh, I don't know. A lot of pounds.
Yeah.
I mean,
double digits
for sure.
Yeah.
All praise are about to start, baby.
We will see you on Monday. Everybody have a great weekend. Stay tuned for AFR. For Paul O'Neill, Kate Wazan, Jacob Hester, I'm Charles Hanagriff. Thank you and good afternoon. Hanging with Hester and Hanny, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hangin' with Hester and Hanny.
If I built a van, it would do more than haul.
It would carry my entire business. I'd make it available in dozens. Make that thousands of configurations.
It would keep an eye on my fleet.
And an eye out for danger. If I built a van, I'd make it available.